कल का मैच ट्रू रिपर्स पहला जो मैच था उसमें दे वर डाउन बट दे मेड अ कमबैक एंड दे मैनेज्ड टू बीट रेवेनेंट। अब ये बात हो गई कल के मैच की, लेकिन आज है डे 2 और आज का मुकाबला माय $100,000 की वो प्राइज मनी जिसके ऊपर नजर है, प्लस दैट बर्थ इन द अपर बर्थ जहां पे इनमें से एक टीम जो है वो पहुंचेगी आगे। Who do we have? Let's start this showdown. The first team to be on stage, ladies and gentlemen, presenting God's Reign. Now इस टीम से expectations बहुत थी, लेकिन split one playoffs में वो performance जो है थोड़ी सी inconsistent रही, but here they are in split two playoffs और एक ऐसी टीम के सामने है जिन्होंने already इनको हराया है। Can they bring up their performance to another level? Can they make sure that they do not have a repeat of what happened in the split one playoffs led by Dix? This is God's Reign. Right. अब इनके सामने आज कौन है? इनसे ज्यादा उम्मीदें नहीं थी, but even then they stormed into the split two playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's in their name. They are in the reckoning. ये अपनी उम्मीदों पे खरे उतरे हैं बिकॉज उम्मीदें उतनी ज्यादा नहीं थी। They have exceeded their expectations on reckoning जो है आज split two playoffs में पहुंच रही है after having defeated some heavyweight teams. Of course इस टीम ने already God's Reign को एक बार हरा दिया है। Can they repeat their performance from the split one playoffs in the split two playoffs as well? Remember what's at stake, $100,000 and a spot in the South Asia final, right? Wow, that's some hammer, my friend. I hope you can keep that cake going once you get into the showdown. But आज इन टीमों के साथ में it's also a very special day क्योंकि आज हम celebrate कर रहे हैं एक बहुत ही खास occasion. Valorant को 3 साल हो गए हैं, so it's the anniversary celebrations. And वो celebration ही क्या जहाँ पे केक ना हो. So can we please have the cake on stage? And also I'd request the teams to join me. Along with that, the 4 boys are sitting in the studio. So can I have Super Johnny, Krat, Phoenix and Fritz to come and join us here? Boys, why don't you join us as well? Now the big question is, केक काटेगा कौन, right? उसका भी इंतजाम हमने कर रखा है. So please, if you can help me, put your hands together for the CEO and co-founder of NODWIN Gaming, Gautam. So we also need a knife, yes? Right, Gautam, now before you cut the cake, since you have the knife, I'm going to put the mic in these boys' hand. That 3 years, man. What a ride this has been. How's it been for you? And how do you see this?
I started my career with FPS. My love for FPS is incredible, immense. So I'm still excited कि इतने बड़े स्टेज पे मैं खड़ा हूँ और अभी तो बहुत टाइम मुझे लग रहा है अभी होगा.
I'm also very happy and मैंने Valorant जॉनी भाई के साथ ही खेलना स्टार्ट करा था मतलब 3 साल पहले. कभी सोचा नहीं था कि उनके साथ ये स्टेज शेयर करूँगा. I'm very happy and thanks a lot to NODWIN कि उन्होंने मौका दिया स्टेज पे आने का.
Johnny, you're as old as this cake, bro.
Yeah, apparently now. But I mean, yeah, this game has given us a lot, and especially Riot Games. Thank you so much for like everything they've done for our region. I mean, we were waiting, all of these players, the players standing here, us, we were waiting for opportunity like these, and NODWIN and Riot have been working together to provide us platforms like this. So it has been an amazing experience for the last 3 years. We hope to like 300 more. Yes, 300 more.
And someone who's been eyeing the cake right from the time it's gotten on stage. Fritz.
Hey, this was my first ever game. 3 years ago, I started playing FPS. This was the very first game, and I just fell in love. When I started playing, I just fell in love with the game, and I would love some more tournaments like these, man. It has been an awesome journey. Hope it continues too.
All right, time for the main event. Right, Gautam, big question. Who are you going to feed it first to? To the future. That cake is as big as him. Right. Thank you so much. Can we please clear the cake? Don't worry, we're going to feed the cake to everyone, especially the two teams, because it is going to be sweeter in dono mein se aaj jo jeetega. While we are here, remember what happened on day one. True Rippers, they were down one map, but then वो come back. दूसरे match को convincingly जीता और फिर तीसरे map पे भी उनको जीत मिली. And now they managed to push Revenant to the lower berth. And अब True Rippers का मुकाबला होने वाला है with Orangutan in the next round. Right, but Harsh, Tix, can I have you gentlemen on stage? Listen, it's a massive showdown, so I've got to ask you, Revenant, we know what they did in the Split 1 playoffs against your team. How are you expecting this matchup to be? Do you feel history is going to repeat itself, or you think this time it's your time?
Look, we've been waiting for this playoff match, the rematch since last playoffs. I think we weren't at our 100% last time we played these guys, so it'll be good to show what practice we've done and how we've implemented new things into our gameplay. And yeah, hopefully we can take the win this time.
Right. Reckoning have a one-up advantage over God's Reign. Now, you pushed them to the lower berth last time around. What do you think is going to happen this time? Do you think there's going to be a sense of action replay once you take on God's Reign?
यप वही जो लास्ट टाइम रिजल्ट हम लोग का था वही रिजल्ट रहने वाला है बट जो हम लोग ने मिस्टेक्स किए थे उस पर वर्क किया हम लोग ने वही तुम्हें गेम में दिखेगा अभी.
Okay, so there's been a huge difference as far as God's Reigns is concerned when it comes to Split 1 playoffs and Split 2 playoffs. What's changed? What's happened? Talk to us.
Yeah, I think we let complacency slip into our practice schedule. We weren't as efficient as we were in Split 1 when we were practicing. But I think we fixed a lot of those issues now, and I think the practice we've done from group stages to now until playoffs will show in the games and what we've changed. Yeah.
तुम लोगों की परफॉर्मेंस कमाल की रही है पिछले राउंड में. स्प्लिट 1 प्लेऑफ्स में भी तुमने इनको हराया है, लेकिन इनकी जो अब मौजूदा परफॉर्मेंस है, द वे दे हैव बीन प्लेइंग, उस पे तुम्हारी क्या राय है? व्हाट डू यू फील?
आई थिंक सो लाइक यू सॉ ग्रुप्स, हम लोग जो ग्रुप ऑफ डेथ बोलते हैं उसमें हम लोग ने 3-1 लिया था. अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम लोग ओरेंगुटन के सामने हारे थे, बट कंपेयर टू आवर ग्रुप एंड उनका ग्रुप बहुत ज़्यादा ईजी था. बट उन लोग स्टिल 2-2 से क्वालिफाई किए लाइक राउंड डिफरेंस के ऊपर से. सो उन लोग ने भी बहुत, उनके भी अप्स एंड डाउन्स रहे. तो हम लोग उस पर लाइक कॉन्फिडेंट है कि उन लोग के जो मिस्टेक्स थे हम उस पर एडवांटेज उठा के हम लोग इजीली जीतेंगे.
Listen, Harsh is dripping with confidence. He anyway called it the group of death. They lost to Orangutan. They're here in the Split 2 playoffs. Come on, you got to give it back.
Yeah. Well, I hope their grand final last split was just as good as ours. Look, we may not have got the win, but at least we made it, you know, didn't get knocked out instantly.
All right, enough of the talking. Let's get started with action. Boys, you can join your teammates, take your seats. But we're talking about the showdown. I just hope that Johnny, Krat, Phoenix, and Fritz, they don't have their faces stuffed with cake. Back to you boys in the studio.
All right, well, that's quite interesting. I also liked the interview, and considering we also saw a little bit of heat in the end of the interview. That's just going to add on to the spice a little bit more inside the game, Crips. And considering we've also got a Thor on the stage, so that's quite interesting, no?
I know, right? All the spiciness is probably gonna be watered down by that cake cutting. Damn, I wish I was in the studio. I mean, my taste buds are just tingling right now. I really could use some cake. I want to be a part of the 3rd anniversary celebration as well. But this is a public service announcement for the rest of the world. If you guys want to experience this vibe, experience this LAN, there are tickets available that you can buy on bookmyshow.com and attend this LAN in person. If not, then Riot Games are also doing a Bharat Valorant campaign, which basically is them hosting a lot of these mini celebrations in cyber cafes across the country. Go ahead and check out Play Valorant South Asia Instagram for more details about that. So you guys can experience the vibe in person, and Valorant's supposed to be enjoyed with friends. But for now, we're gonna enjoy this game, and we'll be heading into the map video. Let's see which maps these teams pick up. Now, last time we had Icebox, Ascent, and Lotus. This time we have a Split and Pearl band right off the bat, which means a similar map pool could repeat itself. Ascent's already here. I see deja vu.
Interesting. Ascent's going to be played. It's picked by Reckoning Esports. So as expected, Reckoning Esports' strong suit is Ascent. But I still remember when they played against Godlike, they lost on the map of Ascent. So definitely some loopholes might just be found in that moment or in that map itself. So hopefully it's not going to be the case as we do move on forward and take a look at Haven being picked up from God's Reign. So that's another interesting pick coming in from their side. And then you see Reckoning Esports going for an instant ban on the Fracture. Now what I'm really surprised over here at the fact is that why did Reckoning Esports not pick up Lotus? Wasn't it one of their strong suits?
Exactly, right? I thought Lotus was one of their strong suits indeed. And the fact that they let Haven up in the air doesn't really bother me all that much. But the fact that they banned Split instantly, I don't understand why. God's Reign aren't very strong on Split either. Plus, the map that has been left forward as the decider is quite neutral that way. So I don't really know what's the plan. God's Reign could have easily been in a lot of trouble if Reckoning played their veto right. But I guess if they want to start on Ascent, then why not? They did beat them last time on Ascent, so it's not exactly a bad choice. I'm just saying it could have been much stronger.
Oh yeah, it could have been. Let's see if they have gotten any sort of improvements done or not. And my bad, I just said this information wrong. It was God's Reign who lost to Godlike on the map of Ascent. So for Reckoning Esports, it adds on to the edge a little bit more. They're just going to have a little bit more confident moving inside this entire matchup. But so far, at least we're seeing smiles on the face of the players and even the coach, because that's what matters. You got to have a friendly vibe, a friendly environment inside the arena. Soon enough, we're going to move inside the map as well. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the first map of the series as we're gonna kick things off with a pistol round on the map of Ascent.
Man, I kind of miss the chamber pick that Flabin used to do whenever Ascent was in the works, but now they've replaced it with Viper, and it just seems like such a much more toxic combination. Jeez. I mean, in VCD Americas, we see quite a lot of Viper being picked up on Ascent, and I just love that Reckoning are adapting to different metas from different regions of the world and bringing them here in South Asia. Let's see how this pans out for them.
Let's see, a lot of questions.
Standing ahead.
As I said, we haven't seen these two teams duke it out inside the Split 2 so far, so it's going to be the first battle. And Flabin kicks it off already with 2 skulls right off the bat, just cracking him open. Man advantage now so far in the hands of Reckoning Esports as God's Reign. Unfortunately for them, they've lost out on 2 of the players. Not a good news for Reckoning. It seems like the stars have aligned inside at least the first round. The Classic's gonna click in once again as Hirsch finds one, but Vabor's there to trade things out.
And here comes the follow-up. If they can hurry up right now, then they can probably catch Vibhor by himself. But backup has arrived, and then Amstorm slowed him down just long enough. Nice spray down, but it's just down to him. Triss can easily get the pre-fire across.
This man is mechanically gifted, considering he doesn't even play that duelist role and still able to put on that well of a firepower inside the squad. As I said, his addition has been just a plus 10 inside this roster when it comes to the firepower.
Dude, I kind of admire this Viper wall, you know? It's not a very standard wall. When you see a lot of these other teams, especially Loud play, if they're ever picking up a Viper or Ascent, they don't play a lot of Ascent, that's another thing. But if they do, they usually put the wall in the opposite side, you know? They cover Market and CT. get inside the site, but this time they want to get towards the market side rather. So Reckoning Esports are just really doubling down on the mid B main to mid market control. Oh, and here comes the dash in. Deadly 10 dashes to his death, and an instant pinstripe of trades is seen.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's just unfortunate now.
Yeah, that's just unlucky. Really unlucky. Reckoning Esports, Deadly 10 straight up just dashed in there. And then Voya does that as well. Just suffocating Hoax to his death with the Viper Spit and also the Shock Dart. Nowhere to go. The man's gonna just meet his maker right then and there. Tix has got a better weaponry in his hands. He's got a Spectre, but he's still not pulled out it yet. He's still playing on the Classic. It's quite an interesting choice that he's doing. And finally, he's gonna pull out the Spectre. Vapor is completely on the opposite side. They need to make sure that the A side's not gonna get hit, but Reckoning Esports, they're quite a clever team. They're gonna try to go and hit the same site once again. Just a re-hit on the B site. Hopefully it's going to be a successful one. Not a lot of HP left in the hands of Voya, and considering the opponent has a Spectre, all he can do is just run and gun and take care of the opponent. And Voya too, trying to implement a little bit of more mind games, trying to play with his opponents. Vapor should be able to catch him off guard, and he does.
God's Reign, hold them back. I like how Reckoning Esports used the not the Nanoswarm, the Shock Dart, as well as the Viper Poison combination to just kill that guy towards the cubby over there. But you know what? I was getting back to the Viper setup on B over here, and there are a couple of things that I noticed instantly, right? Now, I mentioned that usually most teams would put the Viper setup in a way where it cuts off market and CT, but this time, instead, it locks Reckoning out of the site itself, but lets them go in towards the mid-market region from B main. Now, if you remember, at one point, Deadly used to love dashing in towards mid-market. That was in Split 1. I don't think we've seen them do this in a very long time, so Reckoning Esports, while they have made adjustments in terms of agent composition, the overall plan remains the same, at least towards the B side. Now that they're heading in towards 3, this looks like a very different round, and it's a very easy spray down too.
Spike down A.
Yeah, for Tix, they just lined up, and the Phantom 2 is just gonna deal so much damage. Hot knife through butter is the best way to describe that situation. 3 on 2 though, as Trist is way too hurt with only 25 HP. But all he needs is that one single bullet to the skull to change the entire course of the round. And Trist still just looking on top of the Haven as Hoax is going to find the man on the B main. All by himself behind Gent. Too many players to deal with, and Autumn's going to be a bird.
Well, good recovery from God's Reign. But I'm glad that Reckoning Esports are able to get the plant down, so this kind of bolsters up their economic situation as well. Now that both the teams are kind of tied in terms of money, this is where the real asset test begins. Both the humans have their ultimates too, and I would love it if they actually commit to their ults immediately in this round itself. You don't usually see a lot of Omen ults being used often. It's not the most impactful ultimate. Especially on a map like Ascent, when there's a Killjoy present, most Omens just use that ultimate to escape the lockdown if there is one.
Yeah. But the timing as well on that matters so much. We've seen so many of those missed timings.
Yep.
In Split 1 especially. So yeah, it all comes down to that panic moment, and if you're able to think with a clear head or not. Autumn taking quite an aggressive angle with the operator makes sense, you should. When you've got that gun in the hand. Got no information, so he's probably going to be falling back right off the bat. One player getting suppressed as well, and also spotted. Deadly 10 in mid. Things are taking quite slow. If you remember, the overall play style of Reckoning Esports inside the map of Ascent is so different. They keep on switching up so many strategies to play with the opponent's mind, and it's so hard to know what exactly Reckoning Esports are trying to pull off. But this time, it's the mid take as they've gotten it in the hand, but Autumn still towards B main, looking to catch someone off guard, and maybe it might just be Hirsch, but that shoulder pick is going to catch him. And Deadly 10 from the back stabs him.
It's all down to Tix. A lot of responsibility on his shoulders, but given how deadly he is, he can take everyone else's head off from their shoulders. 4 kills already, on the verge of an ace, but Trish will deny it. Balls down to a 1v1. Now, he doesn't know where Vibor could be, but he's got plenty of time to plant this spike. But he assumes that Vibor must be close. He tries to bait the fight out, and Vibor gladly gives it to him.
God's Reign. That is just... oh, that's some Miraculous stuff by that man. Considering Deadly 10 didn't have his gun pulled out and he still jumped down. And then he tried to pull the gun out in front of Tix. That's just unfortunate stuff. And Tix got 3 kills. Was able to just tap on the enemy's skulls. It's like a reaction speed test for this man.
Well, at least God's Reign can still have the operator again, so they can continue keeping Reckoning Esports in check. I really thought that was a gone round, especially when Deadly was creating so many openings. And once again, he goes down in a very stoic fashion. Pushing down without any remorse, even using the cloud burst to counter the one-way. Oh my god, Tix is pinged. He almost died to the wall bang, but he was phenomenal in the defense last time. Can't get anything done now. You can't always get those quad kills. You can't always hold down the B site like a solid anchor. And finally, Reckoning Esports finds success. God's Reign might just go for the save over here. They've got plenty of money in the bank, but they don't want to lose any of it. They don't want to lose any steam or momentum.
I mean, it's still interesting if you take a look at their credits. Sai only has 1,200. Autumn's got 450, so still their economy is a little bit on the vulnerable side. Vibor's got a decent amount of that in his hands, but he can only drop 1 player. Considering Autumn invested massively with the operator, so it makes sense that their economy is still humble so far. And with this round, Reckoning Esports might just be able to cut off their momentum as well.
Well, at least one thing is quite nice from God's Reign coming out. They're varying their mid setup quite often, and even the A setup for that matter. I mean, the Killjoy utility is always present towards the A side, but Vibor has been switching it up. Sometimes he has a microwave setup to stop a catwalk push, sometimes he has an anti-plant setup towards generator. Even on mid, God's Reign, at least in round number 5, they had the, not the round number 5, round number 4, sorry, my bad. They had the mid door shut down, which basically acts like a natural alarm bot if Reckoning Esports want to go for a B crunch. But this time, again, they have something different. The door has not been bothered with, but there's a double stack on pizza. And one of them has an op. So if Autumn's going to take a shot and dash back, they probably wouldn't expect Hoax to be in the same position as well.
I mean, the biggest strong suit for Reckoning Esports on this map is the amount of variations this team has in their textbook.
Yeah, even God's Reign is doing quite a lot of variation. So these guys are going toe-to-toe with that.
Yeah, especially on the attack, if you're going to be utilizing so many variations, it's really tough to know where exactly the hit's going to come through. Good spam, was able to find one. The traits are really now starting to happen back and forth, and in the end, still the man advantage is going to stick to the players of Reckoning Esports. It's a 3-on-2, armed with the operator, still searching for the prey. It's not going to find anyone pushed up. On the other hand, the players are already positioned for success. A good tap on the player. Deadly 10 says goodbye to this round. And Flabin trying to be a cheeky man. The Omen trying to make some cheeky plays over here as Flabin cuts him off. Autumn, once again, trying to be as aggressive as possible with the Yob. Eventually switches up with the Vandal. Knows that he will need to take a close quarter engagement, but Flabin still comes out on top in that duel.
Yeah, and this time Reckoning Esports finally making this work.
Oh, he's got the hammer in game.
So he's got the hammer in game as well as a Thor cosplay in real life. This guy really wants to just bludgeon his opponents, right?
Yeah,
Blunt force trauma straight to the face.
Just wants to hammer him down, dude. So now we can at least say that he's able to nail his
the coffin shut properly, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's fly.
Some people like hammers, some people like using drills. And some people just like using their bare hands. Autumn.
Bare hands.
I don't know, man. If you're Rasputin, you can probably pull that off. But look at Autumn. That's a very aggro push, and he wants to re-peek this one. You can see that he was very adamant on doing so. If it wasn't for the fragment and the snake bite, he probably would have done so as well. But
so far, they've also got the lockdown up. You can see in the hands of a poor Flabin catches a bullet to his dome. Will fall back. That's a haircut and a half. So Flabin now knows he's already got the warning shot onto his head, and God's Reign are still going to try to peek out as they do get the traits down, but still Reckoning Esports once again, they strike back strong enough. As we all know, the lockdown's available in the hands of Obora. I don't exactly know if he's going to try to invest that one right here, right now. I highly doubt that he will try to do so, considering it's just an eco round for the side of God's Reign. They don't even have the superior weaponry, unless if Autumn's able to get at least one kill right here.
Yeah, Pepper's ready with the lockdown. He really wants to clear these people out. And they know that Voya has the Hunter's Fury, so this was an expected response. What they are hoping that the lockdown buys enough distraction so that Autumn can move inside, and Autumn is already getting a lot of work done over here. Nobody was checking towards A main, everybody was focused towards both Heaven as well as the breakable door. And that's exactly what allows Autumn to continue popping off. Great bait setup by Vibhor to help Autumn set up all those kills.
So far, this matchup's looking quite toe-to-toe. Ascent is the pick of Reckoning Esports, but God's Reign, they're giving a tough fight to them. And now you see the Killjoy as well switching up onto the A side. This switch up of the Sentinel is really something that's catching God's Reign off guard.
Uh-oh. Reckoning have been using this catwalk push a little too much, and that's exactly why Vibhor has now gone back to the old reliable microwave setup towards catwalk. And he keeps on changing this a bit too often. Sure, you can suppress him for the time being, but you're not gonna rush instantly. Reckoning show a lot of presence towards the A side by sending in their 0 point and the flashes, but they haven't made any moves in yet. And they're hoping that this will give God's Reign a false fake and they will start rotating towards B, but that's quite the opposite of what's going on. God's Reign don't budge. Neither do Reckoning, so this is just a game of chicken at this point.
Yeah, look at how slow they are with the approach. One knife hits on the toe. Hunter's Fury used to try and stop him in the tracks. But Hirsch, on the other hand, though, manages to find 2 of his own and helping his team out massively. Ticks! Gets a nice spray transfer, gets 2. Reckoning Esports in the end, still they manage to equalize things out. It's a 2-on-2. Side control's given away as well. Flabin still stays towards the main area. Aldro not able to spot anyone. Finally spots Voya, so now they know there's one man in the close quarters. Voya utilizing as many as utility as possible.
Whoa!
Side just single-handedly mows him down.
Now you know why they call him the Clutch Master. He makes it look easy too. It's not even like he hits some nutty headshots or whatever. He's just super calm and composed in situations like those. Also, Tix, what is this guy? Like him and anchoring down these sides, there's no better combination. He pulled off a ridiculous 4K while defending B in one of these rounds, and now he pulled off a nice triple. Like, look at this. They literally walk into his crosshair. And it's not like they line up. Nope, he just snapped onto their heads. Just mechanically gifted. 14 frags for the man already.
Tick's proven huge for his team. 14-7. And I had this literally conversation with the producer as well. He said, which team do you think is going to win? I said, you know, it's really tough to predict anything because you never know. There might just be one player who goes absolutely berserk.
The bait setup.
Who goes absolutely psychotic and is able to shut down anyone. But yeah. Operator also spotted over there. So now you know he's in that situation, or he's in that position. So Reckoning Esports, you see that reroute coming in as well. Instantly, that repositioning. And Vibhor, unfortunately, he's also changed up his setup because he thought that maybe they won't be coming in from the short area anymore.
Yeah, it buys them some time. Doesn't allow the plant to come through yet, but Godzin can't make any more moves. Hey, the door is not shut. So this leaves a massive opening. Reckoning Esports will have a little difficulty trying to get into safer positions, but now that the Viper Spit is up, none of that is a concern.
Trist inside the Viper's pit, and look at this flank. This lurk from Voya, nicely done, catching both the players off guard. And now, once again, God's Reign left with the other option then to go for the save, but Voya, this man, he single-handedly is able to shut every single player down from the back lines.
What an adjustment from Reckoning Esports. All the moves they make are just to make sure God's Reign can't shut them down. The fragment that they put down inside the smoke itself, they never did that before. But you remember how 3 rounds ago, Hoax made a flash play by just swinging out of the smoke and he got a double kill? This time, Reckoning throw a fragment just to make sure Hoax doesn't do that. They don't go mid because they know that God's Reign will use the jet bait setup to make sure that Hoax is still positioned over there. So Reckoning Esports are actually catching up to what God's Reign are doing. And this time they start off with a bang. A Hunter's Fury invested already. They figured out where Vibor is. But do they know that there's a triple stack coming towards mid? This drone will be his death. He somehow recovers in the nick of time and he still gets one. That's great.
A massive frag indeed for them. 4-4. This is what it's boiled down to. Considering the fact that the opponents still do have a weapons advantage, gives them a massive advantage overall. Flab been able to shut down one player on the flank too. There's still one more to go if I'm not wrong. And yeah, even he's getting quite chipped low. Another man gets taken down. Ticks to go. The last glimmer of hope alive, the burning torch, which will be extinguished.
Reckoning are playing a game of chess right now, dude. They're trying to counter God's Reign every step of the way. Yep, it's kind of understandable that the weaponry advantage kind of lies with them, so it's natural for them to get this advantage of sorts, but they try to target Vibor instantly. They don't use the Hunter's Fury to clear out the more common angles like Generator or whatever. They use it instead to focus all their fire towards the Catwalk region. And that's partially because they found out that a lot of the God's Reign members are trying to backstab them from top mid. So they clear out tree instantly. They know that the site itself is going to be empty, and Reckoning can get the blunt instantly. God's Reign don't even get a chance to respond. This time, let's see if they can indeed respond, because Reckoning have dropped the pace. Blitzkrieg attack in the last 2 rounds have kind of screwed up with how God's Reign perceived this match, and now hopefully this will catch them off guard, but Odem is prepared.
The amount of time this team is trying to hit the catwalk area is just unbelievable at this point in time. And God's Reign, though, this time they're able to shut him down nicely. Hoax able to land his shots. God's Reign for now inside this round. It seems like the stars of a line. Boyoff once again trying to catch someone off guard with the lurk, but this time he gets shut down himself. Reckoning Esports with the last player up and alive. Out of nowhere, they've been extinguished out of this round, and it's a flawless round coming in from God's Reign. You cannot keep on repeating the similar pattern over and over again. This is what God's Reign are here to say. Now, what they can try to do, if you remember that B-side take that they usually do where they send Deadly 10 towards market, they can always try to pull that one off now.
Spike down A.
I know, right? They've been using that same Viper wall to set that play up since round 1. And they haven't used it at all, so maybe now's the time. That used to be the signature play for Reckoning Esports, and that would be so difficult to deal with. But God's Reign, if there's one team who's prepared for that kind of a push, it is God's Reign. And that's probably why Reckoning have been so hesitant to use it, right? 11 rounds and they haven't pulled it off even once. Or maybe they're not going to use it at all. They probably have grown out of it.
Maybe.
But that being said, we haven't seen too much value from the Viper yet. I guess that's going to be his job to act as a pseudo sentinel in the second half now.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Bajaj over here is snacking.
Yeah, exactly. He's eating some momos. Okay.
That's good.
Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess he's having a good time coaching his team, eating at the same time as well. Man, I wish I had a life like that.
I know, right? I mean, there's cake, there's momos. Why can't we be on the menu? Now I'm super hungry. And usually whenever I'm near Valorant, I'm that bloodthirsty guy, you know? I feel the thirst, but now I'm just actually feeling hunger. It's not even funny. It's not fair. What?
Yeah, it's like they're teasing us.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like they know. It's like they know we're someone who likes eating a lot just by looking at our face. So they're like, you know what? Let's tease the English test. But for now, jokes apart, as Reckoning Esports, a quick take towards mid. They've got a lot of map control, that's for sure. But once again, it's going to fall back. And the similar strategy Reckoning Esports try to replicate. But this time, at least, they get the tree control situated in the hand. Hirsch has got too many nanoswarms to deal with so far. The push is quite delayed as well. Hoax, once again, being set up for success. Able to land his shots. Also gets the spray down. Will only be able to find one, though. As Hoax was able to get down Goya, but the instant trade from Reckoning Esports was done perfectly as well. God's Reign this time not able to counter that push.
And Reckoning have been so fast with these plants. God's Reign almost always find themselves in a post-plant retake situation, never able to stop them in their tracks. But don't have too many ultimates to work with. Autumn makes a brave dive inside, pays for it with his life, but at least he's checked out where Trist is. The crossfire now, which is established under Hell, will be broken apart, and Flabin somehow steps up. Comes in a little late to the party, but he is the life of the party. He brings it back. Both the teams tied at 6.
But it's a 6-6 scoreline so far, ladies and gentlemen. In the first half, nothing can be said as the first half has came to an end. And as you guys all know, in the second half is where we'll be able to see all the results. But definitely not a result that I expected to see in the first half. I thought maybe Reckoning Esports should be able to have at least some sort of lead. I expected a 7-5 half or something like that. I expected some sort of a cushion in the hands of Reckoning Esports in the first half. But no, that's not the case. As you said, Viper, it felt like she wasn't really used to her fullest potential. We did see those snake bites being used here and there, but still not to its fullest potential. I'm pretty sure on the defending side, we're going to be seeing that Viper being used way much more. But ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for us to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the second half.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Bro, fridge meat के लिए, heat के लिए नहीं. Bro, this graphics card is making my frames drop. Come with me if you want to game.
The all-new Omen 16 with advanced Tempest cooling technology, now with 5 heat pipes and 4 thermal outlets. The Omen 16 with 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor to make you forget your frame drops.
Now that's cool.
Game on with Tempest cooling.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Yes, I'm a Gen Z. Or should I say, the Gen X. And I don't let fear hold me back from doing anything. I choose to move fearlessly to it all.
Hey buddy, we need you to trim your beard for this next scene.
What? Okay, fine, I'll admit it. I move fearlessly in most things, but I draw the line here. What if I Nico cut myself?
Try this.
Phillips.
Hit for my wings, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Welcome back to Omen Valorant Challenges South Asia. Keep in mind that we have a giveaway going on where you have a chance to win the Philips One Blade, so scan that QR code as well. But speaking of winning, both these teams have been going toe-to-toe. While we didn't see too much variation from the Viper in the first half, I'm assuming that this will be the half where Harsh will really shine. He can act like a pseudo-sentinel. And you can see this change in setup already, right? He's playing on the B side, but his Viper wall is on the A side. This is to make sure that in case he gets suppressed, his utility will still stay up on either side.
But so far, inside this round, the pace has been quite slow. God's Reen really taking their time in this one. 3 players just inside B main, holding and waiting for the rest of the 2 players' sign ticks to move on forward and come in the close quarters. Hooks is ready with the 0 point as well, and as soon as he utilizes that, it's going to be a quick burst on the site. 10's ready on the other side of the door to put the cherry on top of the cake, but I don't think so. He's going to be able to do anything because the smoke is denying his vision. As God's Reen, they get a quick stroll on the side. An easy site take is there. Now the post plants are going to click in. Let's see what sort of positions this team is going to decide to play with. Trist, even he himself has got his hands on the 0 point position. Compromise, even the sword. Dart goes off.
Damn!
With a 5K! Ace to close things off. This man just tapped on everyone's skulls. It was even hard to register in my brain that he got an ace.
Exactly right. It wasn't even like he was doing something absolutely nuts. He was just fighting them all at the same time. He isolated these fights. Yes, there was a little bit of assistance from his teammates as well, but man, oh man, that's going to be a massive bolster to his confidence. He was having a rough half. Some 7 or 8 rounds in, he was still sitting at just 1 frag, and now he's picked up the ace. He's woken up, and he's ready to rumble.
I'm not gonna lie, God's Reen, their firepower stepped up incredibly. I thought Reckoning would be the one where we would see a lot of firepower from, but inside this matchup, it's GodsReen who were able to put up those numbers on the fragging department.
Okay. Wait, this is a bit slow on GodsReen. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They've been playing a little more slowly these days. Yeah, Deadly at least gets one before he bites the dust. He was doomed to die over there as soon as he got tagged by the drone. Flabin also tried to pull off something cheeky, but yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. The defaults from GodsReen, gonna let them get all the kills onto Reckoning members who are aggressing in. And speaking of aggression, look at the regroup towards mid. They're looking to push out of there all at once.
Yeah, they've managed to lure him out. But still, for Reckoning Esports, they're going to hit him with a full force once again. As two of the players are going to start to move in from the flank area. GodsReen still going for the fake taps, not sure if the site's clear or not. Eventually, they'll get this sense of security, yeah, that there's no one on the site, but there is definitely one man in the close quarters with more. As he peeks out, he's able to line him up with the Spectre, and all three of them just fall apart within a blink of an eye.
Well, the first two rounds going in the favor of GodsReen are not a surprise. Now that the buy round is available for the other team, that's when the real ASTER begins for them. Reckoning Esports have been actually playing quite surprisingly aggressively. I don't expect them to play this aggro in the first two rounds itself, right? I mean, the kind of aggression they've shown in the past whenever they're on eco, it's like you group all five together and stack, or maybe you just rush down mid or something like that. But this is them, you know, aggressing out in a very default-ish manner, which isn't something I'm used to seeing Reckoning do. Well, now that the buy round's here, let's see what they have in store for us. And GodsReen once again, taking their sweet time.
That was a good recon dart. But only one player fired at it. So they just know that there's only one player maybe potentially outside B main. Autumn passes on the Spectre to his teammate, pulls out the ultimate Blade Storm. Considering the opponents are playing on a bonus round, this should give a massive edge to Reckoning Esports. To at least a chance to catch up to the scoreline that GodsReen have managed to build so far. Good smoke one way. It's going to at least delay the push for a little bit. But the flash from Hoax might just change things forever. What was that shock dart? It was definitely quite a questionable one. But now finally as the A main take starts, Autumn's able to line him up with the help of Psy. There was a trade there on the board, but it's not going to matter quite a lot considering you've also lost a man number, and considering the opponents had a bonus round, they're still able to put up so many numbers on the fragging department inside this round. Psy able to follow it up too. Now as they've got their hands on the better weaponry, this has to be a save, and yeah, that's what they're going to do.
Great adjustments from GodsReen. They just played together like a unit.
What was that shot dart?
Yeah, that was, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but let me explain something else instead, something I do understand. So, GodsReen, they stuck outside of the B side for quite some time, and that's because they know that, at least back in the day when Flabin used to play with Chamber, he loved pushing out a B main. They were assuming he would do something similar. That didn't happen, so they went back to the second spawn, went back to its A main, picked up fights over there, and even though there was a paranoia thrown in by Flabin, they somewhat dealt with him, and after they got those two kills with A main, they didn't get inside the A side immediately, you know? Now, they didn't have any flashes on Hoax, so what they did was they waited a couple of seconds, waited for Psy's recon dart to regenerate, and as soon as he had it again, both Hoax and Psy will throw in their 0 point and recon dart at the same time, cover the entirety of backside and heaven, and that gives them the information they need. So they don't mind wasting a couple more, I wouldn't even say wasting, they don't mind spending a couple more seconds just to make sure that their execute is that much stronger. They will sacrifice time in order to make sure their firepower is intact. Whoa, that's a very interesting Viper Wall.
Yeah.
It's kind of useful only when GodsReen are actively looking to fight over here, and when Hush isn't the only one holding, but that is just simply not the case, and GodsReen have been taking it nice and slow.
Wall. It's just a really interesting wall. I guess he's trying to make a little separation between the orb and the actual B main area. I'm not sure what that wall is supposed to do, but let's see if it's going to come into play. It'll spring back into the action in the future rounds or not. As Godsreen, once again, a slow start to this round. They're taking this one so slow at the initial stage of every single round, and then out and over, it's just a quick burst on the site. Calm before the storm is what you call this. Guardian, it swings back into action, but unfortunately, Deadly 10 loses his head while doing so. Tix was able to find that opening. Now they've also got the man advantage situated up. Reckoning Esports, it's a complete mayday situation for them as they realize there's a high chance the B site will be taken away as well. And as soon as Moya peeks out, he's of course got the timing there. Hirsch was also able to swing back into the action, but unfortunately he gets dealt with too. One last man to go, and Godsreen will seal the deal.
Two members from Reckoning Esports swing in out of that defensive spawn smoke on different occasions. I admire their willingness to do so. They wanted to catch Godsreen off guard. I mean, Godsreen wouldn't expect two players to do the same thing. It is a bit silly when players walk out of smokes like that, you know? It's considered to be a bad play on paper, but if you're able to catch someone off guard because of it, it's good. It's just instinct. And Godsreen certainly wouldn't have expected two people to do the same thing, but they still get the kills, they still get the advantage, and they're able to frag their way to a win. So the surprise element from Reckoning Esports just not present over here. Their intention of picking up fights in awkward places and just throwing Godsreen off guard is not really working out for them.
I guess Reckoning Esports not picking up Lotus is really starting to sting them here, man.
Yeah, that could be a massive factor too. I mean, they did beat Godsreen last time in Ascent, but then again, that was so long ago. That was in Split 1, and that seems like an eternity away now.
Holy smokes, that's like a 2-liter bottle of Coke.
Yeah, I know, right? That's a lot.
He's gonna gulp it down himself.
I just hope he doesn't have to visit the bathroom in the middle of something important. I think I would need to go visit the loo if I was drinking that much liquid, whether it's soft drink or water, for that matter.
I mean,
anyway.
all these drinks and food, of course, are making me hungry. I would want to eat that, but I just started going to gym today, man. I resumed it, so.
Oh, so you have the motivation to do something nice for yourself. Godsreen have plenty of motivation to finish this map as soon as possible. And Reckoning, as aggressively as they are playing, they haven't been able to win a single round in this half. But this push out from Flabin is certainly unique. They've never gone this deep before. And sure, they might expect that since we haven't gone this deep before, Godsreen wouldn't see it coming. But Godsreen are just playing so passively, they expect Reckoning to be aggressive 100% of the time. They just leave nothing to chance.
But still, it just feels like it's quite tough to say what exactly is going wrong for Reckoning Esports. I mean, speaking for them, it feels like they're playing their cards right. It's just that Godsreen are able to always catch him somehow. But inside this round, once again, Reckoning taking that aggressive map control, even on the defending side, considering the opponents do have a weapons advantage. They're able to get that kill secured. Flabin way too low for comfort. It's going to fall back. As once again, the side take's going to come into play, and Reckoning Esports, they will need to fall back and respect the opponents. Look at Sidedream pushing up so deep inside of the CT's, inside the defending spawn as he gets another player down. And well, it's going to be a team ace. Nice round. Secure. Another one. In the books of Godsreen. 11-6, ladies and gentlemen, is the scoreline. Godsreen, they're just starting to run away with the lead now here, man.
Exactly, they are running away with the lead. And while Omen allows you to game on for hours, Godsreen want to finish this game in a matter of minutes. 5-round win streak. Almost an infinite money glitch available for Godsreen. So much cash they don't even know what to do with it. Plus 2 massive ultimates. Deadly's aggression could really be the counter to this, but he misses the opportunity. And while Reckoning have been pushing out of Catwalk every now and then, none of those pushes have been with an op, so this could be Deadly's chance to shine, but he's been pushed away. Not just because of the opportunity missed, but also because of the owl drone, so he's most likely going to head back towards mid now. And Godsreen know this one. So if they want to hit the B site, they would do it via just the main area, not with a crunch from mid too. Plus they've also placed a smoke just to make sure that a quick backstab from Reckoning doesn't come in.
Yeah. I mean, speak of that, this wall is of course going to block him off for now. Should be able to buy some sort of time, but it's not really going to matter when you've got Autumn just straight up dashing in the side. He gets caught. The wings get clipped as Deadly 10. Once again, it's going to fall back and play this one safe and sound. Hunter's Fury utilized as well by side to catch someone. Not able to find any tags on the opponent, so that's at least a good news. Woya softened up a little bit. Once again, that's not really going to change the course of the game, considering the same thing goes for Tix as well. A good paranoia to make sure that his team's going to swing back into action, and that's what exactly is happening. Reckoning Esports, it's a complete outburst out and over on the site. And once again, they get the control established.
Finally, Reckoning Esports coming alive in this half. They let Trist come up with the defuse so that he can get the null command available. 2 ultimates available for these guys as well. Let's see how they counter God's Reign, because they are awfully close to winning this one. At least both the big ultimates that God's Reign had, the Lockdown as well as the Hunter's Fury, was already used up. So that's one less problem to worry about if you're a Reckoning Esports fan. And because Harsh has his Viper Spit, I'm assuming he's just going to lock down B main with it. Will he actually use it, or will he save it for a more momentous occasion?
Let's see.
He's not using it.
Yeah. Folks has got his hands on the null command. So probably try to use it either in the post-plant scenarios or maybe while trying to take the site control in the hand.
Yep.
Don't know what he will do so far. Cloudburst utilized. Autumn will go for an instant check towards Wine. And Reckoning Esports, they're ready. Look at them. They're aiming exactly at the places where they're expecting all the utilities on. But as soon as God's Reign, they step inside the site, they were able to follow up with so many kills. Steadily 10 able to put a little bit of surprise element with that shorty, shutting down Hoax, but there's a chance he will probably be able to get back up on his feet. Even Trist is knocked out on the site. But really, the chances of him getting revived are next to none. As Side strikes back with one more once again, striking down anyone that stands against him, and Reckoning Esports forced back to save this one. And ladies and gentlemen, keep this thing in mind. This is the map pick of Reckoning Esports, and so far they're getting obliterated.
Exactly. They are having a lot of trouble on their own map pick. It was a big gamble. I called it as soon as the map video was on our screens, and now that gamble seems to be slipping out of their hands. Both the KOs just popped their ultimate, so basically it turns into a hardcore FPS round. No abilities, just gunfights. And probably positions too. And that's exactly why you see Hoax still alive, you know? He was in a position where his teammates can back him up, but Trist, poor guy, was strapped towards Jenny. No way he can get back up on his feet. Even if he played in a much more safe position, like, let's say, towards Tree or towards Heaven, I think God's Reign wouldn't let them go for it. Sai has been playing quite aggressively, even in post-plans, you know. He's the kind of guy who will not hesitate to climb up on those little boxes and pick up a fight towards Heaven. And just like that, God's Reign had changed the course of this outcome. Reckoning defeated God's Reign last time on Ascent in Split 1 when they faced each other, but now God's Reign exact revenge. That too on Reckoning's own map pick. This will make the second game so much easier for them. On the verge of stealing this map already. Now unless Reckoning can pull off 5 rounds in a row to win this, I don't think we have an overtime on our hands.
I mean,
God's Reign go for the old reliable.
Yeah, let's be realistic. That just seems next to impossible to do at this point, considering the amount of momentum the opponents have been able to establish so far. And look at Autumn. He's just straight up able to press the W key, able to follow it up with so many kills. His teammates as well are able to chime back in the action and also put up some more numbers off themselves. Deadly 10 getting spotted as well. He's got a man waiting for him in the back in the name of Sai. And as soon as he peeks outside, we'll get rid of him. Assassinated by the assassin. Hirsch and Flabbin all by themselves. A 4-on-5 scenario. These two need to frag out and play the game of their life and showcase a good game of Valorant. But you can see the amount of patience this team is showing. It's honestly commendable, even though God's Reign, they have a massive man advantage still. They're respecting the opponents. And now Flabbin in a 1-on-5 situation. Ace or death.
Autumn's already pulled off an ace this time. Maybe Flabbin can do the same. Plenty of players on God's Reign already low on HP. So with Horde and Autumn are easy, weak targets. The rest of them, not so much, and they're ready with a quadruple peek. A whole firing squad waits them on the other side, and Flabin can't survive this. God's Reign take map 1.
Nicely done, man. God's Reign able to shut down their opponents on their own map pick on the map of Ascent, where we thought Reckoning Esports has been a formidable force. They have been showing us for such a long time that they have been such a strong team on this map, but that Lotus pick, them not picking it, it just seems like it's stinging them in the back right now. But hopefully in the upcoming map, maybe Reckoning Esports is able to get the flame back in their hands and also the momentum swinging in their favor, because so far God's Reign, they just dominated through on the map of Ascent, on the second half especially.
True. I mean, on both the halves, honestly. I like how Reckoning Esports were adjusting to whatever God's Reign are throwing at them in the first half, and I thought, yeah, if Reckoning Esports are coming up with so many counters, the second half should be easy for them. But Harsh just simply failed to show up today. He literally did not use his Viper Spit because I don't know why. He had it available since quite some time. So I just hope that these issues don't bother Reckoning Esports in the rest of the series as well. We'll break all of this down on the other side of the short break.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in. Feeling under pressure.
Recover now. Welcome back to the NODWIN Valorant Challenger South Asia, ladies and gentlemen. This tournament is driven by Hyundai, our styling partners Philips OneBlade, and our merch partner is Planet Superheroes. Now, you guys have already witnessed how God's Reign were able to defeat Reckoning in their own map pick on Ascent. We head into Haven now. God's Reign have a very good chance of shutting this game down 2-0.
Well, as we do move on forward towards the Agent Select, and I guess it's going to be no, not a mirror exactly, because Flabin's going to be picking up a Harbor over here, so an interesting decision being taken from that side. Tix is always going to stick to the Omen on the controller side, so let's see how this one's going to be working out. I'm really excited to see Harbor on this map.
a Harbor Viper composition. These guys really do want to bring the VCT America meta into South Asia now, don't they? They tried something out of Liquid's playbook in the previous game. Now they're trying the loud setup. What I also am really worried about is the guy who plays Viper keeps on changing. Previously it was Harsh on the Viper on Ascent. Now it's Trist. So that consistency with the agent is kind of lacking for Reckoning Esports. I hope that doesn't turn into a problem for them. And the Harbor Viper setup on Haven requires a very, very disciplined playstyle, a very patient and slow one too. So I hope that Reckoning Esports have the ability to hold their horses like that. Viper ball that cuts all the way across mid allows Reckoning Esports to sneak in. And they're going for a very fast one too. Triple push out of window already. This will crunch God's Reign like no other thing. And even Trist escapes the fights. Nope, but he can't escape the shock darts.
Sai getting blinded by the Hawk right there. Vapor as well, just trying to fight back towards the long area. Nanoswarm's activated as well to make sure no one's going to be pushing forward. But then you've got the Harbor just moving in with the high tide. It gets another one done. Flabin able to put up some numbers on the board. Using the utilities quite perfectly. Autumn's on the site. Both the players have frenzies in the hand. We know in close range this weapon can be quite devastating. So you definitely do not want to close distance against that one. But a quick tap from Voya. Autumn's able to trade it back instantly. He's able to bring it back in the action. But then you've got Flabin too with a quick tap on the opponent. Autumn gets shook.
That was quite a close round, but I like how Reckoning just avoided danger. In the beginning, they just had to go in for that massive flank, and understandably so, God's Reign didn't see it coming. But after they figured out that almost the entirety of Reckoning Esports is behind them, they did well to place their utility and hold on as long as possible. But the post-launch setup that they were initially attempting to go for basically relies on them having Sewer's control, and now that it's lost, they can't really fight. So, yeah, I mean, I think that God's Reign was just really caught off guard with that one. They expected Reckoning Esports to use the Harbor Cascades and then come in, retake via the normal Defender Spawn entrance, basically cutting the crossfires between the Graffiti and the Hell guy. That just did not happen. Hopefully they will be able to adjust later on. Reckoning will provide them plenty of chances, but not in this round because they've got superior weaponry. Ooh. Look at this Viper wall. Once again, it's been changed. It cuts off B as well as A. But nothing on C, where Harsh currently is. The Killjoy setup not present, but his guns definitely are. Trist also helping them out quite a lot, but the pistols are overwhelming them. They have a chance to plant, even though they've lost most of their members.
1-on-2. Tix also retrieves the Spectre in the hand. This is not a good news for the opponents. Tix on the site with the Spectre in the hand. Deadly 10 with the Marshal looking to seal the deal, and yes, he will. Deadly 10 puts the final nail in the coffin. Reckoning Esports another round of the board. A good one. But once again, the amount of anonymous era God's Reign bring inside the entire matchup, it's honestly overwhelming for Reckoning Esports. God's Reign, they play the initial start in the attacking side so slow. They did the same thing even on the Ascent. Now they're doing the same thing even on this map. You can clearly see in that eco round, God's Reign were just so slow. Shift walking through garage. They got the garage control established. We're able to free flow on the C side as well. Unfortunately, because of the crossfire, they weren't really able to get a lot of stuff done, but still, you can't deny the fact that the strats are sort of working out. Nice shot from Autumn. Cuts off Deadly 10's lifeline. A side should be the takeover here. Autumn still, though, rethinking his decision. Does not want to straight up just charge in with the W key.
Take flight.
Instead, wants a little bit of backup of his teammates, too. So far, they haven't gotten the short control yet, so they want to get that one first in the hands. And they probably will get the underpass control. Vapor able to stroke quite deep. Cross all the way on the opposite side. Voya not able to spot Vapor just yet. You've got Trist as well moving in from the back lines, trying to flank the opponents as quick as possible. If this timing comes true in his favor, this can be a massive round from Reckoning, considering it is a bonus round for them. There's only one Vandal available in the hands of Voya. A lot on the line for that player. If Voya gets taken down early off, there's a high chance the hopes and dreams will be extinguished right off the bat. But look at the amount of patience this team is showing. Honestly impressive. Such a slow approach to the site. Eventually, they'll also start to make it to the site. Put on him a good slap on the face. Turns around, shuts down Flab, and Voya able to find one towards the short area as well. But look at Autumn. This man is unstoppable. Good flashes from Voya to shut down anyone that stands in his way. In his line of sight, Chris, the last man to go. Good sprays even from his side as well. Able to shut down 2 all by himself, but in the end, it's Autumn who reigns supreme with a 4K. Godsreen, a solid round. They really needed this one too. If Reckoning Esports, they would have secured this bonus round in the hand, then problems would have stacked up for Godsreen. But still, the amount of guns that were taken away in that previous round is still going to keep their economy humble. So Godsreen cannot try to pull off any shenanigans that are not calculated. Calculated moves only from now on. Light armor's on the board for Reckoning. On the opponents, Autumn's probably going to try to play it off with the Blade Storm, and yes, that's what he does. And right off the bat, Flab is able to find one with the spam. Not a good news. Such an unfortunate stuff. Godsreen, inside this round, it doesn't seem like the stars are aligned for them. Flab instantly falling back, sort of sensing that there might just be a take coming in. And all the time I've noticed one thing, Godsreen, whichever site they're hitting it with a full force. They're taking control of that area with all the 5 players together. Like a tight-knit unit. Once again, the slow start just playing off of the enemy's minds. Operator striking in, but no one gets striked this time. 4-on-5 scenario. Things taken slowly and cautiously from Godsreen. You know they have a man disadvantage, so do not want to force things just yet. Seekers were out. Gives away this information that the players are still all the way back towards the spawn. Playing it slow and safe and sound, and now Reckoning Esports should know it's a seat take coming in soon enough. Collecting the ARB. 30 seconds left over. Not a lot of time. The amount of time that's being wasted by Godsreen, it's insane. Aftershock available to force out anyone in that clothesline. They will be able to do so. Good shots from Godsreen. And out of nowhere, they also get the sight back in the hand. They spring back in the action with a strong force. All together hitting it. And getting the sight control secured. Only 10 with the op trying to make anything out of nothing. Flab into you can see closing in from the back. He's got the garage control, but oh man, the separation on these 2 players, they cannot even play together. They're way too far away. They would be better off just saving this one out. Wave crashing. I guess they're still gonna go for the commitment. Commendable, I guess. Flab been able to get one. But they will probably they're probably gonna be satisfied with just that one single kill. That initial pick they found, and they're instantly going to try to fall back and go for the save. They do not want to risk the operator at all. Deadly 10, that operator can prove out to be hopes for them in the upcoming round. So not losing out the op is definitely the main key plan for them. They move on to another round with the operator in the hands for them. Hoax has got his hands on the Rolling Thunder. That means in the upcoming round, Hoax will probably try to use that, but so far, the pace that Godsreen is showing, it's sort of working out in their favor. Reckoning Esports are not able to capitalize on what exactly or where Godsreen are going to hit. And then you just get a quick burst onto a site out of nowhere where somehow Godsreen are also able to get the numbers on the board when it comes to the kill department. The firepower's on point. They're not missing a lot of shots. No room for error. And once again, Godsreen stacking outside C-Long. A lot of players. They're going to start to move in the close quarters. As I said, the Rolling Thunder is going to be utilized as well. Trist will get stunned, but no, it misses him barely. Trist will have another chance to make sure that his team is going to stay in the action as he delivers and takes down 2. Voya on the site gets dealt with. Flabin in the back lines trying to do anything. Reckoning utilized. Sai will be forced off his position, falling back towards garage, but Flabin will seal the deal. A bullet to his dome. And Reckoning Esports, they bounce back nicely. This time, that approach definitely was a quicker approach compared to all the different rounds that we've seen so far. They try to straight up just go for the C site. But it all came down to that missed ult onto Trist. He had that little place where the ult could not reach him. And he was able to just deliver nicely for his team. Those 2 kills prove out to be some of the most key kills inside that previous round, which pretty much helped them to win that one. This time you're seeing a little switch up from Reckoning Esports. You can see there's 4 players present towards the A site. It's a massive gamble stack that they're doing, but they've also left the C site and the B site off on the Killjoy. There's an alarm bot on the B site, and there's a turret on the C site. So if there's any sort of contact made, Reckoning Esports will probably try to play on the retake on that site. I like the thinking from Reckoning. It's quite a quick one, as they've managed to also get the opening first blood on their hands. They've tasted it. Godsreen know now that the opponents have also the man advantage established. Just pushing straight up head on is not going to be the way to go.
Ooh. So the Viper Spit does hold them back from A. And the rest of the setup towards B as well kind of slows Godsreen down to a crawl, especially with Deadly around. He can just go on a killing spree. So many frags for him, and there's more coming his way. It's all down to Hoax. He's been blinded already. They probably won't even let him escape. Shoots down the Trailblazer, but can't shoot down anybody else. So far, Reckoning Esports are doing a really good job with this Harbor Viper setup. They really slow Godsreen down to a crawl. But then again, Godsreen are the kind of team who have shown us on Ascent that they're comfortable playing it slowly. So I think the Harbor Viper setup, the intention of this whole composition is to make sure that your attackers can't really have a fast-paced execute. That part of the setup has been nailed really well by Reckoning Esports. But what's going to happen if Godsreen start spreading out more? So far, they've been just grouping up and hitting these sites together, right? What's going to happen when their defaults start to look more spread out, when they start to have these lurks come into play? That's when things get interesting.
Yeah, for Godsreen, it's a complete reset on the economy. Sheriff saying classics.
Here.
Going for the jump spot, not able to spot anyone just yet. There was a little attack found on the Hirsch, but Hirsch needs to stay alive inside this round. If a site take, luckily enough for Godsreen, if they do get the site take down, it's going to be Hirsch's lockdown that will be able to pull back this round in their hands.
That's
so
true.
far, yeah, once again, slow approach. Crips, what I've noticed inside the map of Haven so far is that whatever side Godsreen is hitting, they're hitting it with full force. All 5 players stacked up, grouped up, and they're hitting it at the same time. It's been happening inside every single round, the same pattern. But this time, as Woya is able to find one, but he's not able to get away safely.
And every single time, even Reckoning start to just flank them very early on. We saw that in Pistol, we see this once again. Hirsch has a lockdown towards Garage, but what they don't know is that there's an AWP present towards the window region as well. Rebor's gonna go all the way around, and now that Deadly's position has been revealed, he has to be very careful about Rebor behind him. Rebor nails the timing really well, but somehow he can't get the shot onto Deadly. The spam connects, and the shorty does the rest of the job. Wow, what a recovery for Deadly. I really thought that Rebor will be able to kill him.
He hits that no-scope. Damn. I mean, that's all I can say. Just impressed. Alright, well, Deadly 10's got his hands on the Blade Storm, so that's a good news for them. He can definitely use it when things get a little bit too dicey for him. On the other hand, Godsreen, though, they've got a lot of ultimates available, so that should be able to secure them at least one round if used properly enough. But look at this right here. Look at this no-scope that he hits through the wall. Ugh, nasty.
Alright. Deadly, if he keeps hitting shots like these again and again, Godsreen are gonna be in a world of trouble. And he's already broken the turret over here. He wants to repeat this once again. You see the cojones on this man, and you have to appreciate it. It takes a nanoswarm and a cloudburst to make sure that he doesn't peek them again. They don't lose members again. But finally, the AWP on the other side starts to pay off dividends. Autumn 2 gets an opening pick. Jet versus Jet, AWP versus AWP. I really want to see this duel on the other side of this poison cloud. The battle awaits. And they're both holding different angles, so I guess we'll have to wait a little bit. This will turn into a bit of a stalemate, but there's someone who can make things work, and it is Autumn!
Oh!
What a flick! Recovery
I
still
was about to
possible, though.
say.
Harsh is all the way ahead. Nah,
Oh.
never mind.
Yeah, try to take it up close and personal, but he gets dealt with. I was about to say in that operator fight, it's going to be all down to the reaction speed. Who's going to have it fastest? I mean, it's just unfortunate that Deadly 10 died there. Deadly 10 definitely reacted a little bit faster. Pavoya on the side all by himself. He's able to line every single player. He's able to dig graves. And now one more to go, but he's also got his hands on the Hawk. The flash is going to pop and he cannot see, and Autumn gets dealt with, wrapped up in a foil paper.
Man, he digs those shallow graves. Doesn't have time to dig 6 feet. Deals with the entire opposition force in a flurry. We have to see this replay. I mean, yeah, Autumn's frag itself is quite impressive. But you see this just complete bash out from Voya, and it is so stylish. He doesn't even need too much utility to get all those kills. And it's not like God's Reign were fully blinded with that flash, but yet he's able to nail all of them to the wall.
Tactical timeout. Definitely a lot of talking being done from God's Reign, considering it's pretty much the roles reversed now. They're switched. Where this time it's Reckoning Esports was able to get some sort of lead on the map pick of God's Reign. As I said, there's a chance we might see a trade coming in. And the chance of that happening, looking at this scoreline, are quite high.
Reckoning starting off on the right foot. That experiment's finally working. Now, what do God's Reign do in a situation like this? Like you mentioned before, so far God's Reign have only tried to play together. They're just making sure that by sticking at the same spot, their trades work out for them. But that doesn't really help them out too much, especially when Reckoning have the ability to single-handedly get multi-frags upon multi-frags, and then all the numbers advantage that God's Reign have, all the trading potential that they have, just gets nullified instantly. We haven't really seen them try to go for these default spread outs so far, but Reckoning almost always push out either one of the sides of the map. If they don't have any A control, they push out C like they do in this round. On every other occasion, Reckoning have been pushing out of A lobby. And this time, all 5 players of Reckoning going in from the back lines. Oh my god, these guys just play ring around the roses with each other. Oh, pardon me, not all 5, just 4 of these players coming in from the back lines with only Flabbin in the front. And they're getting all these frags.
Good pick. And Reckoning Esports. Trailblazer is able to spot one, but Deadly 10
remaining.
He strikes back into action. Autumn with the Stinger too in the close quarters. Of course, this man will be able to win that, but not this round. Let's be realistic. And yeah, Autumn's gonna go for a wiser option, a wiser decision. Just going for the safe. As you said, as even I've been saying, they have been grouping out to get these side hits done. But I think so one of the major problems in their entire take is that they're taking too much time before hitting a site. I understand this is what they did on the map of Ascent too, but maybe on Haven it's not going to work out.
More ultimates available for God's Reign. Maybe that will turn the tide. Because so far, these hardcore executes haven't really been working for them. I mean, with the Rolling Thunder, definitely the executes have a lot more power, but can they still survive all of that? Deadly with a dangerous game. He tries to go ahead of the smoke. Yeah, he's gonna get spammed to oblivion. No way he survives that. But the funny part is, God's Reign have not been struggling to get these opening picks. But despite getting the opening frags, they still haven't been able to get these sites. And that's partially because Twist has already pushed out of C over here. And this is a very consistent pattern from Reckoning Esports. They box God's Reign in. They just basically cut off all their escape avenues. And now because Twist is so deep inside, Reckoning know for a fact that God's Reign have to hit A. There's no other place that they can go to. This confirmed information that Reckoning get consistently allows them to stack up really well.
Get out of my way!
The problem begins for God's Reign right at the point where Trist pushes up all the way from C long. And as they've also managed to get the A side control, I think so Reckoning Esports are not going to panic at all. But if they're going to keep on dropping down bodies like that, the panic situation will definitely start to set up. Flabbin really was tempted to use that Reckoning, but he did not just yet. He's holding his hands with that ultimate. I guess in the upcoming rounds, they definitely will. It makes sense. The thought process behind that was that they were probably going to try to get the retake done on Flabbin's Reckoning, but they didn't get the chance because every single player just started falling apart. It was a domino effect.
The domino effect implies that there will be more rounds that God's Reign can acquire like this. But Reckoning have already won the half. Even if they lose the next 2 rounds, they still have the lead. Just like Harbour says, Reckoning are taking it easy. Aram se in Hindi. Okay, this looks like it's one of those standard garage hits once again, but God's Reign always start off in this fashion. They don't always end up going there. And I don't think they have the chance to escape. Deadly's already trying to push the envelope. Autumn sends him back, but no kills acquired on either side.
So far, even the Reckoning, they've lost the previous round. Still, they're looking like a well-oiled team. It just seems like whatever functions they want to implement, they're implementing it pretty nicely, pretty smoothly. Look, they've completely given up the A site. Because they pretty much know that there's going to be a presence coming in on the either sides. You can see one of the players, that is Deadly 10, is pushed up so deep towards short, so the confirmation is there that the A hit's not going to come through, but still Autumn's able to swing in and get 2 for himself. The problem is the firepower. That's where Reckoning Esports so far, they're not able to come out on top in the duels. But as soon as I say that, you've got Voya striking in like a venomous snake. And he stings anyone that stands in his
30
path.
seconds left.
Vapor able to get the stroll on the site. Will also probably get the spike plant down, but this situation is way too close for comfort. Sai able to shut down Voya. Finally puts a full stop to the killing spree. Shot missed, and Deadly 10 compromises with his life.
Great stuff from God's Reign. They're making these execute look really, really good now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but still the readjustments, the adjustments overall Reckoning are making, they're quite commendable and impressive, to be honest.
I must say, yeah, I agree with you. The early investment of the Harbour ultimate kind of made things a little difficult for God's Reign, but they still overcame all the hurdles. The Hunter's Fury that Sai used, he didn't use it to clear out the side, he instead used it towards Garage. And this indicates that God's Reign have a good read on what Reckoning Esports will do, especially when they first saw the early contact from Deadly to its A. And then on top of it, Tix used his ultimate to get control of backside, instantly covering ground. So while the Hunter's Fury pressures Garage, Tix will then pressure the backside, and that's an easy take on the C side. This time though, God's Reign are quite spread out. I mean, they're knocking on the doors of B, but they aren't ready to go inside yet. They really want Reckoning to give them the first fight. And after they get that opening pick, then maybe they will continue pushing onwards. But first line of duty for God's Reign is to figure out where the push from Reckoning is going to come through. I mean, this time Reckoning Esports are pushing on both avenues, right? They've got Flabbin playing aggro towards Suvers. At the same time, you have Deadly 10 holding aggro towards C Long. And that's exactly what they were waiting for. They knew that Reckoning will play aggro, and they get the opening pick. And now that God's Reign have what they want, can they continue onwards? Alarm bot detects Deadly, and he's ready to strike. Blades available, but that's all she wrote for him.
Yeah, was not able to pull him out in the time. Still a 3-on-4, even lockdowns initiated. The C side's completely on a
30
lockdown.
seconds left.
Look at Voya holding the off angle, trying to catch anyone off guard. He does manage to catch one. A good flash as well. Gonna suppress anyone that stands against him. Voya, what were those shots? They line up onto him. But still, Vapor, even though he was blind, he was still able to cut off Voya's lifeline, but it's not gonna matter. The snake bite's gonna seal the deal. Voya goes heroic in that round.
Switching sides.
Yeah. Flamin was the one who walked in with the cape, but Voya definitely has a little bit of hero element in him. I love how consistently Reckoning Esports can box God's Reign inside. An 8-4 lead acquired, and that's mostly because God's Reign had no choice but to hit one particular site with brute force in an execute kind of fashion. They never had the ability to fall back because Reckoning would just push the other side where God's Reign don't show presence, and then God's Reign are always a step behind, you know. Reckoning can see where the push is coming. They can adjust much before God's Reign can even take a step in the right direction. And that really helps their cause.
I just feel like they should have always had one man on the lurk, no matter what. I understand you guys want to hit a side in full force, but still, you guys should have one man who's watching your back, and that's something. This is what I always say when I say, do not trip over your own shoelaces. And so far, God's Reign has definitely tripped over their own shoelaces. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to push to a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Bro, fridge meat के लिए, heat के लिए नहीं. Bro, this graphics card is making my frames drop. Come with me if you want to get.
The all-new Omen 16 with advanced Tempest cooling technology, now with 5 heat pipes and 4 thermal outlets. The Omen 16 with 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor to make you forget your frame drops.
Now that's cool.
Game on with Tempest cooling.
Presenting Hyundai i20 line. It's time to play.
Yes, I'm a Gen Z. Or should I say, the Gen X. And I don't let fear hold me back from doing anything. I choose to move fearlessly to it all.
Hey buddy, we need you to trim your beard for this next scene.
What? Okay, fine, I'll admit it. I move fearlessly in most things, but I draw the line here. What if I Nico cut myself?
Try this.
Phillips.
Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
Welcome back into the second half, ladies and gentlemen, off the map of Haven, with just the second map of this series where Reckoning Esports, they have a little bit of cushion that they can rely on, but this pistol round is what it's all going to boil down to. And so far, Reckoning Esports, look at them all the way towards mid. They've also sent a high tide towards the B side to get a lot of map control. They're moving in with the help of the high tide, but then you can see even God's Reign taking the reverse map control in their hands on the opposite side. They've pushed up so deep from the A side. It's 4 players in the back lines. It's going to be a full firing squad, but a good snake bite to deny the entry towards the window, and Reckoning Esports, they chime back in the action. Side Dream's able to find one with the shock dart as Triss falls down, but still it's a 3-on-2 where the man advantage heavily stacking against God's Reign in the favor of Reckoning. And look at this, good shots from Sai. Even the right click burst working out for them. God's Reign out and over, they're flipped the odds in their favor, but then you've still got Hirsch up and alive. And the board's going for the stick, is going to stick it, but Hirsch, he comes out on top in that pressure situation. A 4K to close it off. A good way to start off the second half for Reckoning Esports. And now as they've also got the pistol round in the hand, Crips, that means the chances of God's Reign bouncing back inside this map are even slim.
I know, right? Harsh just took Ascent a bit too personally. He didn't have the best game on Ascent, and now he's just stepping up way too much. One could almost say that he's overcompensating for this. And yeah, at this point, bind seems inevitable. Unless God's Reign can steal the momentum back. Haven is a done deal, and look at the amount of kills Reckoning gets in an instant. Round starts, the barrier drops, and they pounce. Takes, somehow makes it back. The bursts of the Classic are nice enough, and he's doing quite a lot. This Classic gets quite a lot of value out. 2 kills, almost a third one on Tafoya. I think that's still nice, but Reckoning already on double digits, just make it nearly impossible for God's Reign to come back. Massive 6-round deficit.
Yeah.
And with this, Reckoning can continue moving fearlessly in any direction they desire.
And they're going to continue with the bonus. Only 2 bodies were found, I guess. In an anti-eco, even if you lose out on 2 players, that's completely fine. But if you lose out the 3rd player, that's where it needs to be a red alert. Losing out 2 players, still feel like it's not going to put a lot of dent on the economy. It's completely fine. They can afford that. And so far, as they've also gotten the better weaponry inside this round, the supreme weaponry, Vandals and Phantom should be able to reign through. Nice shot from Autumn, capitalizes onto his opponent. Almost could have caught Flavin 2 through the smoke. This man is able to find so many bullets through the smokes.
Blind ambition and just burning aggression. Reckoning Esports get punctured by the hailstorm of bullets that God's Reign are throwing at them. And yet, after all of that scuffle, the alarm bot doesn't get broken for God's Reign. So they can very well fall back from re-aggress towards some other part of the map, and still B-side will not be a problem for them. Reckoning finally slowed down, finally looking a little bit in tatters. Okay, not the best teleport, but as long as he's alive, it's fine. God's Reign now. They're still not committing, you know. They still are holding their ground. They're still holding their defaults. They know that Reckoning have plenty of map control available even now, so they won't commit yet. They don't need to. But with time running out, the seaside hit seems more and more inevitable. But why are they not coming in? Now you know why. Because of the flank that Warrior's trying to make. But the fault line that Hoax just used kinda tells you that Reckoning's plans are already known to God's Reign, and there's nothing that Warrior can do over here.
Flawless round. Good capitalization. This is what I was thinking, right? Considering how passive God's Reign have been, how slow they have been taking the game in general every single round, it just feels like God's Reign should be able to do a good job on Haven on the defending side. And getting that flawless round in the hand proves my point, sort of. Now as Reckoning Esports, they've got the Vandals on the board for themselves with only light armors. Definitely in a bit of disadvantage, considering now the Phantoms that they have, the 3 Phantoms that are available, that can one-shot them on the head.
Alright, this is quite a nice spread out from Reckoning Esports. Showcasing presence towards Garage. They've already baited out most of the KJ utility over there. They haven't broken the alarm bot towards C long yet, but they're showing presence towards A, and I think that's enough, especially when Flabin's able to get the opening like that. So God's Reign now not only are lacking a member, but they're also lacking a lot of information.
Oh! Too close. There was a little bit of moment of silence. There could be some sort of connections or some sort of kills. The spray was found, but no kills actually to follow it up. Unfortunate stuff. Dome out as well. He should be able to get the plant down inside that Psy on top of the window. Just able to rain down hellfire on anyone that stands beneath him. Tix as well peeks out with the entire firing squad. Flavin just trapped under heaven, and he gets dealt with too. Unfortunately, the visual denying utilities are, of course, there from Reckoning Esports, but still, sometimes they're not able to exactly deliver on the point for half of those. Takes a good find from him, but an instant refrag is there on the board from Reckoning Esports. Hoax needs to play this one so cautiously. He doesn't even have a lot of HP to spare. Drist, he's got all of it, and Drist, all he needs to do is connect a couple of shots, and that's what he does. Reckoning Esports, another round secured. Another game, it just seems like where it's a complete one-sided map, and as I said, there's a chance these two teams will probably trade the map picks, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, but Bind is uncharted territory for both of them. We haven't seen them play Bind too much, and I honestly don't know what to expect.
Hey, then it's going to be a hell of a map.
I know, right? That's what I'm excited for. Tactical timeout called, finally. It's about time they went for it. God's Reign. The one thing that makes them strong is their ability to stick together, but in this particular game, it's kind of backfiring. How the tables have turned. Your core strength now turned into your primary weakness. And it's only a team like Reckoning who can pull off something like that. How will Godspeed dig God's Reign out of this trench?
This tactical timeout definitely just making God's Reign reconsider their decisions, rethink what they exactly want to bring in. They're almost to the map points, let's be honest. Only 5 rounds secured in the hands of God's Reign, just like in the previous round, as I said, or just like in the previous map. For Reckoning Esports, the realistic expectations are next to impossible. Now you can say the same for God's Reign. The realistic expectations are next to impossible.
Reckoning even have a lot of ultimates to just finish the deal and seal it right here and now. Cascade to creep up towards B. They also use the Trailblazer, while at the same time they're showing presence towards C. But at least they don't win the fight, and God's Reign have something to show for it. So while they have control of C long, they've lost A link already. But they're aware about this fact, and that's exactly why Hoax has no hesitation giving up this area as long as he can retain the numbers advantage. He will gladly trade map control for the numbers. This now allows Reckoning Esports to plant on B, but can they get into post plant? Oh, never mind. They might just not be able to plant as well. The Hunter's Fury makes it so much more difficult. The Cloudburst.
Oh my god.
That he definitely thought he would be safe, but Hoax is able to get him again. And their attempts to get back into the A site are backfiring now. Down to a 2v5.
What is going on over here? Now it's all down to Flabbin and Hirsch within a blink of an eye. And Flabbin somehow he manages to line him up. Oh, this man's got the stars aligned. The luck is working in his favor. Also uses the Reckoning, but unfortunately Hoax left unchecked. And Hoax will strike on the opportunity. Oh, way too close for comfort. Even that was.
Yep. Now God's Reign are pulling off something that Reckoning did in the first half. Proactivity towards C long, especially with the double push, just make sure that they will win the fight no matter what. And we need more proactivity like this from God's Reign if you want to box Reckoning in. Both the teams have such different philosophies on how to play their attacking side. I mean, while Reckoning are spreading out on default and gathering as much area as possible, God's Reign was sticking together. So they're like, yeah, sure, as long as Reckoning spread out, if we can just put up 1v2 fights on either side of the map, we will still win those. So God's Reign continue to take these strategic decisions. And hopefully that gets them the advantage. But this time Reckoning are pulling off a page out of God's Reign's book. They go for a very fast C crunch. Garage already compromised and Deadly's already up there. There's no way they can hold on. Within a matter of seconds, the C side is overwhelmed. And now the Vipers bid for further security.
Wow. Reckoning Esports. It's like back and forth action all the time. And now it's Reckoning Esports instead of God's Reign who's able to get flawlessly inside the site. Hoax for the upcoming round, at least he has some sort of security with that Rolling Thunder. But even Trist has got the Snake Bite. So all God's Reign need to do in the upcoming round is resistance. Resist the site control.
But probably this resistance isn't as easy as it seems. And now you're running out of chances to do that as well. Reckoning Esports having a nice little huddle over here. Looks cute when all these three agents are just huddled up in a corner. Chilling. Knowing that they've got the map in the bag. Probably preparing for bind already.
Oh yeah. They've already got the strategies clicking in, man. Yep. You know, these tactical timos that they're taking, it's all to talk about bind. It's not even to talk about Haven. Let's be honest.
Yeah, let's just hope that they don't have any other snags or hurdles in the way. They take that tactical timeout once more to just make sure they finish this game here and now. I mean, since the tactical timeout is active, maybe God's Reign can also use it to disrupt the flow. But I'm pretty sure that Reckoning have one of those pocket aces that they will pull off now.
Reckoning Esports, I don't really know the thought process behind this tactical timeout, but the problem is it also gives God's Reign to talk a little bit more to each other, especially their coach. You can see he's also conveying a lot of messages, but even Reckoning Esports' coach is doing the same thing. So both these guys are definitely exchanging a lot of information with their individual teammates, so let's see what sort of a change we're going to see in the upcoming round. For God's Reign, as I said, resistance has to be the way to go. But they still do have a Rolling Thunder available. So let's see what sort of timing they're going to utilize.
I mean, all the ultimates that they have, the Lockdown as well as the Rolling Thunder, these are some really good ultimates which are conducive to retakes. But historically, God's Reign haven't found much success on these retake rounds. So are they going to use them to go for the retake at all? Or will they just try to fight Reckoning head on and just make sure they can't plant in the first place? Oh, look at this though.
Right there.
God's Reign triple push out of mid. We haven't seen them do this before, but we've seen this come out from Reckoning, and Reckoning made it work pretty well, so hopefully it pans out in a similar fashion for God's Reign too. Well, there's an alarm bot and a turret in the way, so the backstab will be detected. Plus, Harsh himself is marking the angle. Almost got taken down with the timing over there.
Yeah, even flashes, so many utilities just trying to flush him out. Hoax is able to shut him down, but then you've got the counter push from Reckoning Esports too. Kills happening back and forth. They tried their best to get rid of that entire lockdown, but were not able to do so successfully. Last man to go in the name of Flavin. With the Vandal in the hand, is not going to do anything. Yeah, too many eyes just watching him out at the same time.
You can tell that Hoax really tried to just break that lockdown with his aftershock, and when he failed to do so, Autumn tried to... I'm sorry, not Hoax, it was the other guy. And he just really tried to send it in, you know? Even Autumn, for that matter. He really wanted to help his teammates out, but he couldn't do much. Now, luckily, the rest of God's Reign coming in from the back lines kind of gets the job done. But Reckoning Esports had that one desperate moment where they all wanted to escape the lockdown towards A lobby. They just decided to fight it. And when the fights do occur towards A lobby, especially in a situation like that, God's Reign are able to hold their ground. But how much longer can they hold their ground? How much more fight do they have left in them? Look at this Viper's Wall. It's so passive. It cuts off so many avenues too. It cuts off grass, it cuts off window, as well as the bottom of C. So I guess it's to just make sure that God's Reign don't push out too much. But then again, this Viper Wall won't really do much, right? Because God's Reign have already acquired too much map control.
Oh, they do the same thing again that they did in the previous round. It worked out once, but is it going to work out twice? I guess Woya might just be caught over here, but no! The initial shot doesn't land, so Woya is at least able to get the trade of himself, but you can see instantly another frag following it up.
Found them.
Reckoning Esports, they're once again forced to think on their feet, as now they're going to try to make it on the A side. Quick dash onto A. They've got the A side secured now in their hands. It's locked in and loaded. Flavin's going to go for the plant too inside the... And he does.
Spike planted.
Blade Storm's available. So maybe God's Reign can try to pull off some shenanigans.
Right there.
But once again, these ultimates are really not going to help him out a lot in the retake.
Yeah, true. You just have to hope that the numbers do the job. First order of business is to break the crossfire between the graffiti and Hell guy, and this Paranoia might just help him do so. But it doesn't affect Deadly, and his eyes are still open. Autumn and Tix somehow make the lineup work, and God's Reign still have some fight left in them.
Oh yeah,
just go in for the
not
triple
so.
peak.
They've got a lot of fight in them. And especially in these retakes, I guess that tight-knit unit strategy is sort of working out with them. As you said, the triple peaks, the double peaks, they're peeking out with each other. They're playing like a unit. (12-8) being the scoreline. As we know, Reckoning Esports, they're just sitting on the match point, on the map point, but they're still not able to get the confirmation rolling. One more round, and God's Reign is making them struggle so much for that single round. But it just seems like now that God's Reign has managed to crack the code, Reckoning will probably need to play a little bit on the counter strat here.
That's true. And Reckoning's counter strat is to just do what God's Reign were doing, you know, group up together and then hit the site. Yeah, mid control has always been something that they do. They never struggled with that. But what they're also doing really well is bait out all the utility from the wall. Nanoswarm's burnt out, but the alarm bot towards B isn't broken yet. The turret is still active. And look at where the other Nanoswarm is. It's all the way towards the back of C's site. I don't think Reckoning will ever plant over there, but ooh, why not? Tix though, instant trades. Vivor helps him out as well, and even the breach is present, so God's Reign is just not letting go of this garage region at all. They bolstered it with the numbers.
It's like God's Reign, they're well in sync. Every single player synced up to each other. They know exactly what player is doing what on what area of the map. The communication is flawless right now from God's Reign. And that's something that's really helping him out to give him a little bit more edge inside this entire competition. Look at him just spamming through. Even throws in a snake bite. No option then to force out. Oh man, just suffocates him to death. Trist and Flab, and now they're on a back pedal towards somewhere else. It's a 2-on-3 scenario, definitely pullable. Hoax has got his hands on the Rolling Thunder as well, which he'll probably try to use it in a panic situation. Seaside taken in the hand, Dome utilized too. We'll go for the plant. Not a lot of time left over, but enough to get the plant down.
2v3. God's Reign will go ahead and regroup. Even the sentry has been placed by the board just to make sure that Reckoning don't go for some super massive flanks, you know? It would be wise of them if Reckoning go all the way around from long and then try to hit Garage or be late. But now that the Reckoning as well as the Rolling Thunder have been invested, both these teams have some big AoE ults just to clear out the site. But there's nobody present on the site itself. It's gonna be up to Trist to somehow make this flank work, but he misses the opportunity and he gets taken care of instantly. Flabman has to peek all of them at the same time and there's no way this is happening. God's Reign, hold on.
Are we gonna see a reverse sweep or what?
We might just see it. I don't think there's too much money available on Reckoning now, is there? Yep.
No.
They are somewhat broke.
Yeah. It's going to be reset for them. The previous round was sort of a force. No, they do. Light armors and vandals and guardians.
Yeah. Some
They're
compromises
barely
made.
hanging on the cliff. They're barely hanging on the cliff. They have also got the loser's bonus stacking up, so that's why they're able to buy this one.
Yeah. 3-down loss bonus does make things a bit easier, but with the AWP in the hands of Autumn, there's really not much that you can do. Unless you're somehow able to get that lockdown into a nice cheeky position. No, wait, even that won't help. Sai has the Hunter's Fury, so even the lockdown is not going to get you much value. Classic Killjoy trap. The lack of a SOA available on Reckoning Esports does make things a bit harder for them in terms of gathering info. But at least they're denying information quite well with the double controller, you know? So you win some, you lose some. And while Reckoning are on the verge of winning, sometimes victory can be quite elusive. Especially when they're up against an opponent like God's Reign. That's a very deep trailblazer. Oh, but they don't bite the bait. God's Reign don't rotate to its B. Instead, they hang on to its garage. They knew exactly what Reckoning got up to.
Oh my god, this is, as I said, the communication right now from within God's Reign is flawless. They're able to convey every single call so smoothly. Blade Storm popped as well. It's right in front of Autumn, but still Autumn does not want to go for that extra risk. Instead, he keeps himself disciplined. Even from the shadow utilized, so the position's known. A good blind, and we'll catch him fade away. Tix is taken away, and now it's a 3-on-3 situation. Out of nowhere, this situation seems just doable in general. Good flashes from Voya all the time. He's able to get the timing down on the opponents, but the problem is that God's Reign's backup, the firepower backup they're having. Trist is going to play on the lineup, so that means he should be able to buy a lot of time for his teammates, that's for sure. Hoke's way too low. He's going to push up right to his opponent's faces. A good snake bite to deny this entire plant, but still Vapor's going to take it all the way half. Snakebite's going to deal with him, but Hoke's now left all by himself with only 25 HP to deal with his opponents as it's still halfway.
No way!
And God's Reign, they live to see another day?
Oh my god, this is just not happening, dude. The cojones on these guys to continue sticking it in the face of that snakebite. Luckily, they didn't have to deal with the nano swarms as well, otherwise this defuse would not have been possible. But you have to appreciate what God's Reign are up to over here. Reckoning are playing in a very chaotic fashion, and still God's Reign are able to maintain their calm and composure. Tix was basically doomed to die. As soon as he stuck his ultimate, the Seeker detected him. Plus the flash just kind of made his flank completely useless. A similar story happened for Hoax as well. You know, he was caught in a very weird spot. But he still just held it. And just like that, Reckoning Esports once again find themselves on the brutal end of a choking game. At least they have money, so they won't completely be shut out.
Oh man, Voya just caught a haircut. So he's probably learned his lesson. He's not going to try to peek out in unknown territories anymore. Good nano swarms. The timing on that is flawless, as it's going to buy so much time to take that site control. Soon enough, they will also get the plant down, but the problem is the rotation's already there on the defending side. You can see 3 players already stacked up outside the spawn. The spams are also starting to connect. Godscreen so far playing this one patiently, safe and sound. Hunter's View reused too from side to clear out some known angles, but look at Hirsch in a position that he might just be able to catch a couple of players, but no, it only gets one. That's good enough.
It is indeed very good enough. Viper Spit and the Snake Bites do make it difficult for God's Reign to enter, but Dix doesn't care. Gets up on elevation. That's a very brave TP. But Trist, still the Guardian. Still the monster that they have to deal with in the middle of all these smokes. And once again, they're sticking it. How many times will God's Reign continue to stick the spike? Dix, very brave, but this time Trist denies everything. You can't pull off a ninja defuse 2 times in a row.
Oh man, so close yet so far. And once again, the Thor strikes back with lightning. Flavin's like, no chance they had that map in their hands. But still, that went way too close for comfort, man. If I'm Reckoning Esports, I'm going to be sweating up for the upcoming map because God's Reign, as I said, in the later half, in the second half of the board, it just seems like the communication was flawless for that team. So you need to worry a little bit.
I know, right? Coming back from a 4-8 deficit, even though you lose the game, still bringing it to 10 is quite a big deal. And God's Reign were indeed communicating really well, but Reckoning Esports are just so good. Their innovations with the Harbor Viper setup just really throw in the pacing of God's Reign for a toss. And also because God's Reign were playing in a very one-dimensional way in the first half, Reckoning Esports were able to get that immense lead which they carry forward and push into the 3rd map. We'll be back with the post-game analysis for map 2 and map number 3 after this short break.
Hit for my wings, I need my eggs. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in. Feeling under pressure.
But partially because Reckoning have had the bind experience at least a little bit more than God's Reign, they might have an edge on this one. So let's see who wins the series out. So far, both the teams have traded each other's maps, and now we are heading into neutral territory. We're heading into the sandbags.
Exactly, and also YouTube audience, welcome back to the stream as we're going to move on forward towards the agent select of the Decider map bind. With Reckoning Esports and God's Reign, let's see what sort of an agent select we're going to see. Oh, double duelist instantly being pulled out from God's Reign. They're going to use Raze and Jet, so I'm really excited to see how this one's going to be panning out for them. On the other hand, you see Voya with a fade.
Alright. I quite like this setup from both the sides. Double duelist on one hand, and it just really helps them be in a very... It just helps them get into their own element, right? Really just shows you what the personality of these teams is like.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, starting things off on the pistol round. As Reckoning Esports on the defending side and God's Reign on the attack.
It's
right off the bat, you can see, yeah, right off the bat you can see God's Reign just stacking outside the B.
Yeah. I'm also quite excited to see Hoax on a duelist role. He's been playing the KO so far really well, but now Tix picks up the KO and Hoax on the Raze. Now this will certainly be worth looking out for. God's Reign with the double duelist. It is a bit of a surprise, but Reckoning picking up both Viper as well as Brim, that doesn't really faze me. Reckoning have been going for the double controller setup since all the maps. But look at the fast push out from Reckoning already. They're boxing them in once again. This is Haven all over again.
Yep. Oh man, they're repeating the similar mistakes, tripping over their own shoelaces. This time it's a quick teleport on the opposite side, but still the opponents have a man advantage. That's a big key in the functioning of a round. And so far, considering the opponents have the man advantage, they will also have a little bit more confidence in taking the firepowers and taking the duels. And that's what you're clearly seeing. Voya walks inside the crosshair of Autumn. Autumn will be able to seal the deal onto him, puts him in the grave, as Flabben's able to get a quick tap onto his opponent's side, still going for the confirmation shots onto him. Tix in the close quarters with the frenzy, trying to pull anything off. Deadly 10 shuts him down as well. The headshots are perfect from the side of Reckoning Esports, as they also managed to seal the deal in this round.
Oh my goodness. I feel like this is Haven all over again. Less than 30 seconds into the round, and Reckoning Esports already push all the way out of 8 towards Link to the bottom of Hookah.
Same pattern.
Same pattern, exactly. It's repeating itself. And God's Reign could never see it coming. Who would see it coming? Honestly, I don't even blame God's Reign for this one. Nobody in their right minds would check their backlines less than 30 seconds into the round. But hey, you know what?
I mean,
I'm glad
you gotta check your backlines, considering the opponents have been abusing it since the previous map.
Yeah, but would you expect the same thing to happen in Bind as well? I mean, I'm just glad that this happens in the pistol round itself. So now God's Reign will be very aware. If this happened like very late into the game, when the economy hangs in the balance and the whole map is just hanging on one decisive round, that would have been a true disaster. At least now God's Reign have some time to react.
Quick dash on site this time at least, and look at Herschel. He's able to just straight up melt 2 players with the fragments. Yeah, a quick cleanup from Reckoning Esports. It was burst onto the side, and when you're not really going to have the superior weaponry, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get melted.
Exactly, especially when there's 3 mollies on the floor. The floor was literally lava at that point. There was a snake fire, there was the brimstone molly, as well as the fragment from Harsh. And what does God's Reign do? They walk right through it.
It's down, guns up, get deadly.
It's also quite funny how God's Reign don't stop. You know, I mean, there's 3 mollies, Reckoning through all of them inside, and God's Reign continue to commit. I think they've spotted him cross across, right?
He did, and yeah, Deadly 10 had no clue that he's getting held up like that. And Sai just having the advantage right off the bat. Sai also knew that the gun will be retrieved because Deadly had a Vandal in the hand, so he went for the spam but found nothing. And look at once again the amount of aggression the opponent's showing. Impressive stuff. Reckoning Esports, they know all the time this is what the strategy has been for God's Reign, so they need to push out on one side of the map and get the information secured. But at least this time, God's Reign, they had 1 player watching the backlines towards bathrooms. But once again, they've given up the presence. The problem is that no matter what, Reckoning Esports, they have got the confirmation that this hit is not going to be on the A site. And that's why there's 3 players almost towards the B. With God's Reign, as soon as they hit the site, they're also able to follow it up with a lot of kills because they have the better weaponry.
They've got the better weaponry, they were also quite patient.
Planted.
God's Reign just kind of smoke off Hookah itself. They know for a fact that they don't really have control of it, so they don't want to fight it either. They also are patient enough to wait for the toxin screen and everything else to expire. Presence detected from the 0 point also made things slightly easier for them. And as soon as Autumn dashed in, a lot of people just started focusing fire on him, so the rest of the team can follow up. Nice flawless round from God's Reign. Keep it clean, they keep it simple. Not too many shenanigans involved, and luckily God's Reign also don't get crunched by Reckoning in one of those super fast wrap-ups.
Oh, Operator pulled out in the 4th round. High risk, high reward type of situation here. He did have the money for that, so just straight up went for that. But let's see how much of a value this Operator is going to be able to bring. Deadly 10's the man who's wielding it. And so far, he's exactly on the side where the opponents are thinking to hit. But they're also taking it quite slow and cautiously this time around. And I like the fact that God's Reign have finally decided to split up, separate up. But eventually, they will start to gather up once again.
Yeah, and they have gathered up now. Reckoning also haven't made any moves. This crossfire between Harsh and Trist, it's not the strongest. Oh, but he gets caught with a snake bite in hand. That's unfortunate. At least Harsh makes up for it. That's a nice double kill. But after getting what he does, he has no choice but to relinquish this area. So Godsrain have the ability to plant. Even though they've lost members, they at least have control of the front side of the truck. Unless Harsh feels brave enough to push through this smoke. Oh, fired now. And he won't peek yet. He knows his teammates are towards the bath area, so he's just going to wait for them to make a move. Godsrain don't have the ability to fall back to its shot. They just continue to stay on the site, and that's their undoing.
Yep, Sai all by himself, left alone towards the lamps area. He's able to only get one, but in the end, it's burned to death. Flabbit, nicely done by this player. Reckoning Esports, a solid round followed up with this operator. As I said, I was questioning it if it's going to be able to find some value or not. But he really didn't need to swing that operator into action at all because he was holding the B-long area. No one showed up there. And it sort of also gave away the intentions as well because no one showed up B-long this time. So the chances are it's probably going to be an A-take.
I mean, even though they saw it coming, Godsrain, they didn't fail because Reckoning were a step ahead. They failed because they didn't have the ability to fall back into post-plant positions. And they also lost a lot of members. Oh, look at this push out. At least this time Hoax was prepared, but yet Flabbin's sharper.
Yeah, well now they're a step ahead. This time just changing up the pace, and I like the fact that Reckoning Esports are really trying to bring that unpredictability inside the game. With push-outs like that and plays like that, some rounds they're playing completely silent and pushed back, and then some rounds, that's what you get. Hoax being cut away right off the bat, also missing out on that operator shot, not a good news. But Hirsch has got his back. So the trade is there. It's even Steven on the book so far, all good in the hood. Godsrain, but they're being held off the bay. The entrance is being denied for such a long time. So much time's being bought. Trist also wins that duel. That was quite a key one. And now it's a 2-on-4. Next to impossible to do unless some miraculous plays happen right here.
Oh, that's the miracle they were waiting for.
30 seconds.
Surprise element available for Hirsch, and Sai once again loved that situation. And yeah, he is the clutch master, but this is too tall of a task even for him.
Reckoning once again just running away with a series of 3 rounds back to back. This team's managed to secure. Godsrain really are now going to start to question what exactly is going wrong for them. But yeah, Reckoning Esports, they're really on the lookout for any sort of stacks from the opponents. That's why they made a push out of the hookah area. But luckily enough for them, it worked out.
Get out of my way!
Yeah, at least this time Godsrain are deviating from the normal. They're not sticking together as such, but it's quite a default-ish spread out. Which does make sense, you know, since Reckoning can't be predicted, since you don't know where they will push out from, but you know they have the tendency to push out. It does make sense for Godsrain to spread out and just hold all these areas, at least for the first 30 seconds of the round. So they creep up towards long and hookah slowly. They don't keep their position a secret. But because they're taking their sweet time, they're hoping that Reckoning won't stack the B site. I mean, it's not that strong of a stack. At least not yet. But they're just waiting for the burst out. Uh-oh, presence being detected. Now this is going to be their cue to get inside. The orbital strike does make things a lot more harder for Godsrain to get inside, but they take their sweet time. Harsh once again burns one alive, but the fragment, he's just getting so much value out of his utility. But the frags, they still are even Steven. Godsrain have a chance of making it work. The smoke fades, Sai makes it work again, switches over to the frenzy, and that's what Godsrain needed.
Oh, Godsrain, that was such a panic situation. A chaotic moment indeed for both the teams. But that quick burst onto the side, even though the economy wasn't looking too good on the side of Godsrain, it still sort of worked out for them. I thought Flabbin on this position should be at least able to get 2, but he was denied by Vapor with that headshot. Right then and there, things sort of started falling apart for them. And then this push from Sai, unexpected.
Now that's a Viper Spit committed very early on, shutting down one of these avenues. Godsrain haven't exploited the A site all that well yet. And now with the Viper Spit, the chances of them doing so are even lesser. But what Godsrain haven't tried yet is a very fast Bath execute. Maybe this is the time to pull it off. I mean, even up until now, whenever they've hit the A site, they didn't use Bath all that well. Plus, the Toxin Screen setup that Reckoning are using this time doesn't really cover their approach in for a teleport crunch, right? So Godsrain at least don't have to worry about getting sandwiched in here. All the more reason for them to try this out. Take the orb. Once again, Godsrain not keeping the position a secret, and this gives away all the information that Reckoning need.
Yeah, also uses the null command. Hirsch able to find the man who was trying to get the opening down. But then you see Reckoning Esports just able to get the stream of kills somehow. Any person that steps inside the site will die. And that's what Reckoning Esports are here to deliver. A stark message for the opponents. Good flash. Autumn flashed out as well. A lot of visual denying utility to Autumn, so the operator is not going to be able to strike back to its fullest potential. It's a 2-on-3 man advantage stacked up in the hands of Reckoning Esports. The stars are aligned too inside this round. But you can see Reckoning Esports, both these teams are really just playing so disciplined. Not a lot of time left over, so they should be clear enough for Reckoning Esports that it's probably going to be a save. And yeah, Godsrain, no extra risks taken from them.
Oh, Godsrain, their patience doesn't really give them what they want. They were hoping that by spending enough time towards B and just throwing in utility enough, making their presence known, will draw in the rotations from Godsrain, but draw in the rotations from Reckoning, but that just simply did not happen. And when Godsrain started to hit the Bath area, Reckoning saw that coming a mile away. Plus, because of the null command, Bibber could not deploy his smokes, so they just kind of had to walk in dry, right? They don't have any flashes, they don't have any smokes to cover their entry. They just are hoping that the guns will be able to get all the frags. And that's not something that you can rely on quite often. So, Reckoning really have no difficulty cleaning up shop over there.
Tactical timeout, man.
Yeah, I mean, under ideal circumstances, you would want to just wait out the null command, let your utilities come back online, use your flashes, use more smokes, and then get inside. But this time, Godsrain were even being pressured for time, so they just had no choice but to walk in dry.
Yeah.
It's almost like Reckoning were forcing their hand, dictating the outcome of this round before Godsrain even made any move of their own. Just manipulating them into discarding the advantage away.
Already do see paint shell being used. I guess the intention wasn't there to use that. Or was it being used? Maybe not. Oh yeah, it is. Deadly 10, unfortunately, I guess, fat-fingered and used one of his paint shells, so now he's only got one left over. And he will, as you do see, the opponent's trying to get the showstopper down, but the 0 point is used perfectly. So the showstopper stopped for now. No value being found by that showstopper. Hirsch, nicely done. A good timing being found, but Hoke should have thought it through. A lot of utilities being utilized at the same time. Even Nightfall being sent in to get the opponent's position down and confirmed. But Trist from that off angle was able to get two of his own, and now Deadly 10 as well pops out with the showstopper. The resistance from Reckoning Esports is so strong that Godsrain are not able to reply back at all.
Oh, but hold on. Sai can actually do this one. Seeker's invested tells him that the site is clear. And he's one of the best clutch masters already. A 1v2 is definitely doable for him, especially when Reckoning members aren't close enough to trade each other out. But he doesn't know which side his opponent is on. He still gets the flick, has enough time to reset, and now he knows where Voya would be. He's prepared for this one. Oh no, the timing! This could have been a disaster, but he would much rather play for time rather than pick up the fight. But does he know that Voya's circling around him? They're playing ring around the rosies, and this time the result won't be a poetic effect. It will be death! The clutch fails, and Reckoning Esports continue their winning streak.
Oh, Voya, the Demon Slayer. For sure. He's always there for his team when his team needs him the most. Sort of like the backup plan, you can call that man. Burning torch.
The insurance policy.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, another word to put it. But Trist right here, oh man, this man just turned the tides in his team's favor. When it felt like the side control was just given away by Reckoning Esports, then Trist just strikes in like a venomous snake and eats two of them alive.
It's yeah, I mean, Tix did really well, but you also have to give credits to Deadly 10. Plus, another thing that's really working out for Reckoning, a bit too well actually, is that God's Reign aren't capitalizing the hookah area as much whenever they try to hit the B site. They just kind of put all their eggs towards B long, and that's about it. Oh my god, though! This time Reckoning taking matters into their own hands. Double peek out of smoke. Sai had no way to survive that.
That is so brilliant. As soon as they use that, as soon as they use the Fade utility, they pretty much knew that there's only one player outside because only one player shot at that. So they both peeked out at the same time, and the sound also gave the exact position away. Brilliantly done, 200 IQ plays from Reckoning. But instead, they lose out on the opposite side. And God's Reign, a clean stroll.
I feel like God's Reign just have a way of shutting me up every single time, right? At the start of this round, I mentioned that God's Reign don't utilize hookah that well. They kind of been relying a bit too much on B long. And this time, they burst out of hookah, get the plant and the numbers advantage. This looks like a round which they can finally win. Unless Deadly and Voya can pull off a 2v3. Oh, never mind. I think I just jinxed it. The killing spree's begun. Voya gets the second shot off as well. Vibor has the opportunity, has the timing as well, but doesn't have the shots. It's now between him and Deadly. And Deadly has plenty of time. He tries to go for the stick. Will Vibor call his bluff? He does! Oh, but he's done it. He's played the time well enough.
Oh my god. Wait, Deadly 10 being able to win that fight in itself was impressive. But yeah, as you said, for Vibor, all that was needed was to waste the time, and he did that. I did not expect at all for Deadly 10 to win that fight, considering how much advantage Vibor had in that one. He also used the Stim Beacon to get that extra bit of mobility in his hands, and also that fire rate. But man, God's Reign definitely a round they needed, and they had desperately enough to break the momentum that Reckoning Esports was able to build so far.
Yeah. And this is a good adjustment, you know? I mean, in the previous round where we saw that Orbital Strike, Nightfall, all of that coming into effect, God's Reign just couldn't use hookah well, but this time they use hookah to perfection, instantly capitalizing on what they learned from the previous round, instantly fixing their mistakes. We need more of these adjustments from God's Reign if they want to have a chance, but this flash is just too good! Trist finally stopped. Sai kills him through the wall bang, but I think Trist will be happy with the outcome. He's done his job.
Yeah. He has. Considering Trist, wherever he is, he's always able to get two of his own all the time, helping his team so much. Hirsch! Good reflexes on this man. Dodges that flash exactly in the time. Sai knows there's someone on the other side of this bathroom. It's Deadly 10. Just waiting on the other side of the door, looking to put the cherry on top, but instead it's going to be Sai, who puts him 6 feet under, digs his grave, and now Tix all by himself on the site towards the lamp area, trying to pull anything off, and he's also able to land all the shots that he's taking. Voya, as I said, this man is a burning torch of consistency, a man you can rely on, but then you are going up against the Clutchmeister, Sai Dreams himself.
If you say one of my
Sai knits the dream together, keeps the eyes of his team open, prevents them from falling into that deep slumber of the losing streak, and now once again their economy is stable. God's Reign have recovered from the trenches. Maybe not fully yet, their economy is still a bit shaky, but at least they've broken Reckoning's economy at the very least.
Yeah.
So both the teams are in a very... they're broken free from the deadlock, yeah, that's the important part, but neither of these teams have very stable economy right now, and this is a terrible spot for both of them to be in 11 rounds in.
Yeah. For Reckoning Esports, if they're able to get this Thrifty off, massive one, and we know how much impact these Thrifty rounds can really bring into the game. These eco rounds. Flavin's got his hands on Vandal. A good flash. Trish peeks out with help for that flash. Also uses the snake bite. Try to use the Viper's Pit as well, but he gets denied this time. Vibor able to shut down that man exactly in the time. The timing this time plays in his favor.
Oh my god,
timing. 10 will be caught. Fading away. God's Reign, they're really having the God on their side.
God's Reign spreading out quite so many people spotted on B long, just basically made Deadly 10 very vulnerable over there. He thought he was safe, He became complacent, and that leads to his undoing. And as soon as he dies, the A side is up for grabs. Molotov under heaven just to make sure that nobody can swing out, because Reckoning have the intention to swing out of smokes every now and then. They've done so in the past. And God's Reign don't want any nasty surprises, but Warrior has plenty of them under his sleeve. But Vibora has the orbital strike, so he can buy some time with that one. Also uses that cover to reposition himself. Fabin lost in the smoke. But will he be able to bring the heat though? Hoax is going to make first contact. And they both swing out at the same time. Still, it doesn't have any effect. God's Reign, great recovery.
Nicely
Last
done.
round before the switch.
And now it's going to be the last round too. This round will really be the pace setter, the momentum setter in the upcoming second half. Flavin's also got his hands on the orbital strike, so he can try to at least get some map control back if it's taken away by the opponents. But as I said in the previous round, it's just really timing working in the favor of God's Reign for them. They were able to find 2 frags just off of the timing completely.
Well,
good
flash. Yeah, it is indeed a good flash, but I'm kind of worried about Reckoning being pushed into a very passive stance like this. They're just jump spotting, man. They're not making any of those proactive moves that they had been making. And they've used up quite a lot of utility as well, you know? Prowlers, haunts, everything has been thrown out by Boya. He doesn't find anything. Even Harsh used up the 0 point. Now, luckily that's a rechargeable. But as I say that, Boya makes the push out finally. He's taken B long for himself, and he's already on the wraps. God's Reign, though. So much time has passed, but yet they haven't taken any information. And the flash that Side just used doesn't spot anyone, so now they have a false sense of security. Meanwhile, Voya's already behind them. This could be a disaster. He might just kill the spike carrier unless Vibor can stop this. Crisis averted.
Oh man, Vibor, the saving grace in that round. Catches the flanker in the right time once again. As God's Reign, they have been stopped in their tracks for now.
30
The
seconds
flanker should have
left.
also given away a bit of position, but they don't know if there might be some last-minute tweaks coming in. Trist once again in that position was able to get 1 man down, but then you've got Tix following it up with 2 with a KO. Autumn with the Blade Storm in his hand, looking to make sure that if anyone slips out of the smokes, he will be able to take care of those players. Flavin and Deadly 10, this duo needs to be deadly enough to stop out the entire force, and it seems like so far it's going to be a 6-6 first half. In the later phase of the first half of the map of Pine, it seemed like God's Reign, once again, they started to get the grip back together on this map.
A vice script, that too. Right around the throats of Reckoning Esports. 4 rounds in a row to secure the equalizer. Great adjustments from God's Reign. The passive setups from God's Reign also kind of worked out, because at one point Reckoning were proactive, yes, but when God's Reign started to default, and it's not the kind of default that they were doing in Haven, right, where they all just stick together. This time they actually do spread out, and they're so wary about the fact that Reckoning Esports will be on the black lines every often, so they are okay with not having map control for the first 40-50 seconds of the round, because they know that Reckoning will make a blunder, and then they will steamroll on the back of that momentum.
Exactly. I mean, let's see what's going to happen on the second half, to be honest, because, look, in the first map, the first half was as close as this one. And then later on in the second half, God's Reign started to have a massive momentum swing into their favor. The wind was in their sail, and that's what seems like so far as well. Because you can see in the first half, and later on, it seemed like God's Reign, once again, they had the winds in their sail, and they started to win rounds back-to-back, pretty much putting a big halt on the economy and also the round income of Reckoning Esports. So far, the momentum is in their favor. So let's see what's going to happen in the second half after this short break.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Hit multiple wins, I get it in.
Bro, fridge meat के लिए, heat के लिए नहीं. Bro, this graphics card is making my frames drop. Come with me if you want again.
The all-new Omen 16 with advanced Tempest cooling technology, now with 5 heat pipes and 4 thermal outlets. The Omen 16 with 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor to make you forget your frame drops.
Now that's cool.
Game on with Tempest Cooling.
Presenting Hyundai i20 N-Line. It's time to play.
Yes, I'm a Gen Z. Or should I say, the Gen Next. And I don't let fear hold me back from doing anything. I choose to move fearlessly to it all.
Hey buddy, we need you to trim your beard for this next scene.
What? Okay, fine, I'll admit it. I move fearlessly in most things, but I draw the line here. What if I Nico cut myself?
Try this.
Phillips.
Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, can't play pretend. Hit multiple wins, I get it in.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the second half of the Decider map Bind. So far, the scoreline has been equal, but it does seem like that the momentum swing that is in the favor of God's Reign. Anything can happen, though. It's the second half, as the roles are going to be reversed, as the sides are going to be switched. Let's find out.
Curiosity peaks as we look to crown one winner over here. That will go ahead in this upper bracket. Oh, okay then. Hesitant to pick up the first fight. God's Reign will be long, but the rotations are already inbound. Dix is on his way. The question is, will he get there in time? Currently, God's Reign have been locked out of the action. The smoke to his elbow just makes sure they can't take any shots. And even the paint shield just kind of pressures them away from any cheeky smoke frags. Plant will go down, but God's Reign are looking to go in for the retake before Reckoning can even get into these post-plant positions. And so far, all the kills are going in their favor. God's Reign, don't let them catch a break. Don't let them get the positions. Flavin left by his own devices. There's just way too many players in front of him. Way too many bodies.
I really want to know the pistol stats, right? I feel like so far, Reckoning is the one who's been really dominant inside the series when it comes to the pistol rounds. I wish I could, I wish I remembered every single, maps, pistol rounds, who won it, who not, but...
If
yeah,
only, if only our memory was as sharp as we want it to be.
Only, man. I guess, well, in the future, AIs will be there to help us out. So...
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be concerned for a long time, Crips. We're good. $7-6, though. Considering now God's Reign have also gotten the upper advantage in the second half. Able to get the victory in the pistol round. Look at Deadly 10 straight up just pressing W inside the site. Flavin could have almost gotten the plant down too. Way too close. Tick's able to shut him down at this nick of time. Good molly to deny the plant as well. So yeah, Reckoning Esports now they'll probably need to backpedal, and that's what it seems like they're trying to do, but they've left two players towards the lamps area to catch someone off guard. Look at Hirsch and Trist. They're rerouting all the way towards bathrooms, but Vabor is a man who's watching it so keenly.
Taken down.
Yep, just another day in the office for Vabor. Keeping the momentum, making sure he doesn't lose any weapons, doesn't even lose too much HP for that matter. Now Defi's just looking to lure Ticks inside. He wants that bulldog. He's like, come at me, bro.
Long range.
Never mind. Yeah, never happening. Well, at least God's Reign keep it clean, right? At least they will have a nice bonus round going into the third one. They even have the Vandal in case Autumn wants to pick up some long range fights. So I'm assuming he's just gonna peek out towards B long or something, keep that range to his advantage. Tix, on the other hand, is going to play all the way back from A site and use the Bulldog Burst to the best of his abilities. But what happens to the Spectres? Are they going to just push inside like they have been doing so? Or do we have something else that God's Reign are planning? And keep in mind that because there are light shields available on Reckoning Esports, these Spectres actually have a chance of winning these duels. I know that Reckoning take a lot of inspiration from Loud and the American and the EMEA teams, and Fnatic was kind of the team that really just brought that whole half shield meta into this whole thing. But the one time where half shield aren't effective is when your opponents have inferior weaponry, and this time God's Ring don't even need the weaponry. They just jump in via teleporters, instant kill onto Flabbin, and now that's one less controller available. Those smokes towards the B side, so Reckoning will have to fight this one man oh man, and Warrior's up for the challenge.
Indeed he is. Just nails him down with a haircut. With more too, but the Spectre is able to line up so many players, 2 to go. How did Voya lose out in that duel? Did not connect his shots at all.
Player standing.
Look at Trist as well. Even he gets dealt with. The players are falling one after the other. It's a chain effect. Hirsch in the long range. We thought that he would be able to win that, but no. Reckoning Esports, they're getting dealt with so easily.
That's exactly what I pointed out. The half shield meta is actually a good thing when your opponents have the same weaponry as you, but against Spectres it does get a little dicey. But then again, Reckoning didn't have much money to begin with, right? They didn't get a lot of kills in the first 2 rounds either, so they had no choice. And now, once again, they have to bear the brunt of having to eco in the 4th round. That is just a tragic way to start a half.
Speaking of a tragic way, and you've got Reckoning Esports' coach. Oh my god, this guy's looking so aggressive, feeding that information. He's got a lot to say.
No. This is comparison bias. You see, Gavin looks a lot more animated because there's Godspeed on the other side, and Godspeed is this really calm, really cool person. If you had Gavin sitting next to someone like, let's say, Vandalik from ASTER Army, then Vandalik would be the more animated one. So it's just comparison, you know?
Yeah. I mean, God's Reign, as I said, it just seemed like the momentum was in their favor in the first half itself as they started to win the later rounds. So, yeah. I mean, that in itself, giving them a massive edge in general. Oh, boy. Let's see what's going to happen now. I'm in a huge worry for Reckoning Esports over here because as we all know, in Split 1, Reckoning Esports was able to win against God's Reign, and if Reckoning Esports lose out against God's Reign in this matchup, this can be a massive mental letdown for them.
Sheesh! Alright, Deadly. You've woken up today. Deadly has been having a quiet game by Deadly standards. I mean, he's still playing really well, but because he's put on such stellar performances in the past, this one seems a little lackluster. That was until he put that massive frag up with the Guardian. And now Reckoning, because they've acquired the man advantage, they don't mind holding back. They know that God's Reign will try to make another preemptive play. And that play happens to be towards the A-shot region where Vibor is already set up. Autumn will most likely set up bait for him. He will make first contact and then fall back, hoping that they focus all their attention on the jet and ignore that little corner that Vibor's hiding inside, which is kind of like a one-and-done angle, right? Yeah. I would love it if they just interchange positions, you know? If Vibor was playing where Autumn is and Autumn is playing over there, at least he can escape that way, but hey, they don't check it, and the bait works out beautifully! They bite it with all their teeth, and Vibor holds on! What a stellar hold! Spraying down 3 people!
Player standing.
Yeah, 3K, and then Autumn too able to just follow it up. The string of kills that they got in hand, Hirsch is going to be forced to reposition on the other side, maybe just be caught as well. But no. Fortunately for him, that opponent had a knife in the hand. Hirsch will go for the commitment onto the spike plant, but he's got a Trailblazer approaching him, and he will be stunned. Hirsch, nowhere to go, trapped on the site in the deadlock. God's Reign, another round secured. Nicely done by them.
Don't even start that shit here, mate.
Hey, I just noticed that there have been some adjustments to the arena. I mean, since I've not been there myself, I noticed a couple more Omen stalls in the background where you can just kind of try out their products. I didn't notice that before, but that's quite cool. But this bait, I mean, I somewhat saw it coming, and man, it worked out so beautifully, right? They don't check it, and that's partially because they saw Autumn first. They were just kind of stuck in that recency bias. They saw Autumn and they think, yeah, you just got to chase him down, drive him back.
Yep.
And they just force an error out of Reckoning Esports.
Autumn. The first shot was missed onto the player who's going for the contact. But it's okay. But for the opponents, they've got the information that there's an operator posted up on the B side. Even Autumn is standing right on top, standing tall. Haunt was used as well to collect the information. Now they know there's no one in the close quarters at least. But even God's Ring, they're playing this one so patiently. And as I said, Autumn is just looking for that first contact. And as soon as he gets that, he's gonna keep on striking down players that stand against him. A string of kills falling up for Autumn, and then Tix as well just chiming into the action. And God's Ring, they put a full stop to that push before it even began.
Sheesh, that is just devastating, you know? Op holding Kuka, the rest of them swinging on contact. That's a one and done position that the green box guy was holding. And yet, it just poses no problems for God's Reign at all. And one thing that they were also doing, which wasn't required, is that God's Reign pushed all the way out of bat. They knew that Reckoning are going to hit the B side because there was no presence elsewhere on the map. Now, it's a different story that God's Reign didn't require that backtap, but it was available in case something happens. Oh my god, Deadly's lucky to survive that. Your bullet just whizzes right past his shoulder. And yeah, if the orb can't finish him, the dog will.
Oh man.
Enemy remaining.
Tasmanian Tiger just eats him alive. Flash is used too. Flapping the last man alive with only a sheriff in the end. Oh boy. With an impossible task ahead of him. Let's see if Flabin's able to do anything. At least he was able to get one, maybe second one too. Could have been close. But Tix has able to just put the final nail in the coffin for them. And you see the supporters as well of God's Reign.
The stuff they write on their phones is so funny, dude. That's one thing I appreciate about South Indian audiences. They always, in every single LAN setting, there will be at least a few people having these cheer messages on their phones just there. And sure, us as casters probably don't pay as much attention to all of that, but the audience, they will be definitely entertained with a lot of them. That's a very early commitment with Nightfall.
Yeah. There's no stopper available in the hands of Deadly too. And even Orbital Strike still in the hands of Flavin. They haven't committed it just yet. Considering God's Reign all the time are able to stop out the leakage right off the bat, so Reckoning Esports aren't even able to find that free flow so far. And considering God's Reign are also on the map point, this is a massive problem for Reckoning Esports. No room for error at all. Every single step has to be for perfection. And Voya lines up both of them. Massive frags from that man.
Yeah, but that's only one step in the right direction. They still have a mile to go. Many miles to go considering the overall scoreline. And Reckoning a white disaster for the time being. But Voya and Flabin have less combined HP than the rest of God's Reign. And even the stacks from God's Reign are available, you know? Uh-oh. Sai beat it out with the brawler, holding a one and done position, but he doesn't care, for he will spray them all down. He's enough. It finally takes a massive rocket from Deadly to stop his killing spree, but now he's got his back pins against the wall. He will have to traverse backwards to recover the spike, but first he will cover Tix's head with blood. Blasts it open.
I have the spike.
And Autumn will play this nicely and peacefully.
Yeah, the time is running away too. 10 seconds left over. Gets the last second TP off as well, and now he knows that the rotation was probably pulled off towards the B site. Autumn, he will need to play for a retake in this one, so he might as well just take his time in playing and thinking it out well enough. Make sure that there's no errors being done from that man. If Deadly 10 is able to swing his team back into action, it's going to be a free lifeline gifted away to Reckoning Esports, and I'm pretty sure they will try to make the most out of it. So Deadly 10, he definitely doesn't have a lot of HP to back him up, but look at him, he's still pushing up against the player, and as soon as he does, unfortunately, he runs out of bullets, and Autumn swings back, turns back, and slaps him in the face as God's Reign. This time they defeat their opponents, Reckoning Esports, who have proven out to be a nightmare in Split 1 to them.
The exact revenge. And as the line says, Badla indeed. Reckoning beat them in Split 1 and God's Reign. The exact revenge over here. What a very unfortunate way for Deadly to lose that 1v1. He had Autumn bamboozled. He was looking in the wrong direction, but running out of bullets? That's the most tragic way you can lose a clutch. A heartbreak indeed. As God's Reign move on in the playoffs in the upper brackets. And Reckoning will be relegated to the lower.
Still, they're not eliminated, as Crips said. Lower brackets is where it's all going to be at. Against Revenant Esports, Reckoning has played against them once in the past, in which they came through victorious. And Revenant Esports lost, but it was an all-3-mapper series. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to push on to the stage for an interview.
What a victory for God's Reign. Just like their name, they have rain, hell and fire. But you know what? I want to talk to the captain and also the MVP. Tix, can I have you here? Tix. Come on, join me on stage, brother. Clearly, you seem to have completed the revenge, don't you?
Yeah. They said it wasn't an upset last time we met in playoffs, so thankfully we couldn't give them the upset again. So.
Got it. But your players in Ascent were pretty much hitting all the targets, and it seemed like you and Autumn were just farming.
Yeah. Well, we stepped up when it mattered most. We didn't step up last time, and their imports stepped up really well. But they're actually really, really good. Like, I can see them easily coming top 3. They're one of the best teams, if not the best team we've faced in Split 2.
Now, Haven looked shaky, and you guys were losing a lot of First Bloods?
Yeah. They played a really strong Haven, to be honest. We thought they may change something up, but they kept it pretty similar, and we were just not able to get any momentum or any of the swing rounds. But yeah, they played a really good Haven. I'll give them that.
All right, big question. Is it safe to say that the Split 1 runners-up are now back at their top game?
Look, we're not going to show any complacency. We're just going to take each round each round as it is, and each game as it is, and we're just going to play each game to its own merit, and we'll go from there.
Now, you are about to face ASTER, who are the Group B toppers. Any leaks?
Yeah. It's just going to be a similar rematch again. We're looking forward to it. They said that we shouldn't have won the second map against them last time, and the first map against them last time. So I'm keen to show them the true God's Reign.
Listen, I saw a lot of energy once you won. I mean, what did you say to all your fellow gamers?
We just noticed that energy was getting down in some of the group stage games, so a big focus on us for this Split 2 and heading into playoffs was keeping that energy high during the officials, not letting the swing rounds get to us as much as they used to. And so we showed today that we needed to keep the energy high so that we could perform well, and it showed today.
All right, congratulations on the victory, brother. Right, God's Reign clearly getting one over Reckoning. Time to take a break and we'll return shortly.
Hit for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in.
बाथटब नहाने के लिए है, लैपटॉप डुबाने के लिए नहीं है। भाई इसमें इतना ओपी प्रोसेसर है, पर कुछ प्रोसेस ही नहीं होता। तू मेरे साथ आ। ब्रो प्रोसेसर चलेगा तो गेम थोड़ी चलेगा। What about cooling?
The all-new Omen 16 with advanced Tempest cooling technology, now with 5 heat pipes and 4 thermal outlets. The Omen 16 with 12th Gen Intel Core i7 processor that lets you game and multitask like a pro.
Oh, that's cool.
Game on with Tempest cooling.
Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this is 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up, pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage as they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 C's. I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar cheese. I guess that's why they envy me. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. I got his band like I'm Barry Bonds. Running through the money, but the money's long. I don't love it, but I need it, keep it coming on. Only friendly, me and friends, we don't get along. I put that on my name, that I put them on. I put myself on stage and they sing along. I might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon' way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better when I'm 70. Your drip is just a water spring. You know I drip different, this the 7 seas. I deal with life different, make that lemon squeeze. Went off for my style and identity. Better bounce back and get the cheddar.